Let us pray. Father and gracious God, Lord, we thank you for this time. We thank you for this opportunity. We ask now that as we go into session that you would give our leaders wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, that they would make decisions for the best interests of our community, for the city of Montgomery, Alabama. We ask that you would continue to bless them and use them for your glory as we build a better and brighter community. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Harris. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I need approval for the October 15, 2024 work session meeting.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
8 with 7 abstaining.
All right. Need approval for the October 15, 2024 regular council meeting minutes.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
8 with 1 abstention.
All right. All right, Mr. Mayor's message.
Mr. President, can you move on your agenda? I'm having a little technical difficulty on the mayor's message and who we want to recognize and what we want to highlight as well. Okay. I guess
we'll come back to
keep a paper copy. All right.
You good?
Yeah. Go. You got to do that. All right. Thanks, Miguel, for that. Thanks, everybody on the staff for keeping the backup just in case. I want to say good afternoon to everybody. Glad to see so many people here at a special time on a special day. To all the members of the City Council, thank you for the work you all have been doing in our community each and every day. We know that you all deal with a lot of calls and texts and emails and questions, and so we're grateful for the feedback that is provided not only to us directly, but also to the leadership when we're able to meet with them as we were last week to talk about some of the high points and maybe some of the not so high points in the city that we want to improve. But we know today is an important day in our community, in our democracy. It is Election Day. It's a day that reminds us all the power and privilege we hold as citizens of this great city and this great country. Certainly as the ending point of the Selma to Montgomery Voting Rights March, we understand that probably more than most what matters and why voting matters. And I'm glad to see that so many people have turned out today to vote in federal, state, as well as local elections, as well as those amendments that are on the ballot as well. But we know that voting is more than just a right. It's a responsibility and an opportunity to have a say in the decisions that shape our future. Montgomery has a long and storied history when it comes to that fight. But each ballot cast today is a tribute to the struggle and the step toward ensuring that our community continues to make progress. I want to encourage everyone who has not yet cast their vote to do so before 7 p.m. And remember, if you're in line at 7, they will allow you to vote even if the polls close before you are in there, as long as you're in the line. But your voice matters. Again, whether it's for local, state, or national elections, and each choice you make impacts our schools, our neighborhoods, our economy, and the future generations of Montgomery. If you've already voted, thank you for taking the time to be an active participant in our democracy and in this process. It's a time when voter engagement is more critical than ever. Our community must set an example of involvement and commitment. So as the polls remain open today, let's stand up, be counted, and ensure that Montgomery continues to be a city where every voice is heard and valued. Now, I also like to take the opportunity to highlight the city's upcoming celebrations for Veterans Day. This will be observed on Monday, November the 11th. The City of Montgomery and the Alabama Department of Veterans Affairs are once again partnering on a joint effort to create a memorable celebration. Veterans Day is a vital occasion to honor and express gratitude to the brave men and women who have served in our nation's armed forces. It is a time to recognize their sacrifices, celebrate their courage, and reflect on the freedoms they've safeguarded for all. Their dedication exemplifies the highest form of service and that's why it's been such a priority to bring this parade back to downtown. Now, this will just be the first event that we will hold that day, which begins at 9 a.m. on Dexter Avenue. During the parade, marching bands, military units, veteran organizations, and more will showcase their patriotism and support for all of our veterans. Following the parade, the Veterans Day Resource Fair will take place beginning at 11:30 a.m. at Riverwalk Stadium. This fair will give people an opportunity to connect with organizations offering valuable resources and support services tailored to veterans' needs. Also at Riverwalk Stadium at noon that day, we invite the public to join us as we hold a solemn ceremony to express our gratitude and pay tribute to the sacrifices of our veterans. We invite the entire community to join us on Monday, November the 11th, for our Veterans Day celebration to help us express our deepest gratitude to the men and women who have served our country. Your presence and participation will make this Veterans Day celebration truly a memorable event. Shifting gears, the Montgomery City County Emergency Management Agency is urging the public to participate in its hazard mitigation survey. The basis of this survey is to review and update the hazard mitigation plan, which reviews our natural disaster risks and vulnerabilities and develops strategies for protecting people and property. The information from the survey will help develop effective strategies to reduce the effects of hazards on our community. Survey is available online and responses are completely anonymous. Scan the QR code or visit mgmready.com to find a link to the survey. Your input is appreciated to support the mission of the Montgomery City County EMA, which serves the residents of Montgomery through effective planning to minimize the effects of all disasters. Now to public safety. As we continue to prioritize the safety and well-being of our community, we want to take this opportunity to keep you informed about the trends we're seeing in this community in regards to crime. Year over year, we have seen a 20% decline in homicides and nearly 17% decline in non-fatal shootings. On top of those numbers, our homicide clearance rate remains 10% higher than the national average. And while we know that to those who have been impacted by gun violence, these numbers may ring hollow, we want to assure you that we're doing everything we can to keep this community safe. I want to thank our leadership at the Montgomery Police Department, but certainly our partners throughout the community as well, including those in the community who are helping us from their platforms as well. Thanks to the efforts of Interim Police Chief Jim Grayboys, the gun ordinance passed by this council earlier this year, and Montgomery's partnership with the Metro Area Crime Suppression Unit Task Force, progress is happening. The task force has confiscated 50 illegal firearms and taken 9 machine gun conversion switches off the streets. While that may not sound like a lot to some of you, those numbers are representative of the round-the-clock effort our law enforcement team and partners are indeed making. We're still seeing some property crime and burglaries that we would like to drop, and we would like to change some of those outcomes. So we want to make sure that we remind residents what you can do. One, always lock your doors and windows even when you're at home. If you're away from home for an extended period of time, let a neighbor or someone know if you aren't keeping up with it through technology and through cameras that you may have. Two, we want to make sure that if your cameras are not connected to our Star Watch system, we need them to be. The more cameras we have, the more eyes we can have on various pieces of property as well as various streets and blocks and intersections, the more that helps our public safety departments do their job and continue to help reduce what we would like to see, which is the impact of property crime around the city. But we also want you to be cautious of strangers and report any unusual behavior immediately. Don't take the law into your own hands. Make sure you're reporting that. But avoid leaving valuables in plain sight, especially in your car. We encourage all residents to stay informed and proactive in taking steps to safeguard themselves and others. Maintaining public safety is a shared responsibility. Your participation and cooperation helps keep our community a safe place for those who live here, those who work here, and those who play in our city limits. Now, this is Native American Heritage Month. We'd also like to recognize November as a time to honor the history, culture, and contributions of Native American communities, both across our nation as well as here in Montgomery and across this community. This month calls on us to recognize the history of our country, a history that includes the triumphs and struggles of Native communities. It's an opportunity for us to learn and reflect on the immense resilience of Native peoples whose legacies are interwoven with ours. We acknowledge that we are on land stewarded by indigenous people for thousands of years. The Muskogee Creek Nation and other indigenous groups have shaped the history of this land long before Montgomery was founded. Native Americans have made significant contributions to fields ranging from science and the arts to government, education, as well as the military. This month, we honor Native American veterans, scholars, artists, and activists who tirelessly protect their communities and traditions and build a better future. Let us each take time to learn more, to listen to Native stories, and support Native businesses and artists. If you haven't been to our archives department just up the street, I encourage you to go. There's a lot to learn there, not only about Native American history, but the history of our state and as it is tied to those tribes and those nations that have long been a part of this community. Together, we can create a Montgomery that values all of its people and celebrates the diversity that makes our community strong. And on a personal note, I certainly want to thank the Porch Band of Creek Indians for their involvement here in our county, in our city, Stephanie Bryan and her team for what they do around this city as well as around this state each and every day. Now, we've got one new person I'd like to acknowledge, and that is our new Director of Cultural Affairs, and that is Jennifer Dobbs, who has come on from the Executive Director of Artsbridge Foundation in Atlanta, Georgia, where she acquired over $4.5 million for the organization. Jennifer also increased geographic outreach to 71 Georgia counties and 5 surrounding states, implemented new community outreach programs and partners, and much, much more. During her tenure in that position, Jennifer received national recognition and was named a 2023 Social Impact Woman to Watch by nonprofit HR. She also earned statewide recognition as one of Georgia's top 500 leaders in 2023 Georgia Trend magazine. Under her leadership, Artsbridge received 6 Southeast Emmy Awards for special event live coverage of the Georgia High School Musical Theater Awards and the inaugural Atlanta NO50 on Fire Award. Jennifer graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in English Writing from Edinburgh University of Pennsylvania, an MPA with a concentration in organizational leadership in 2003 from Gannett University, and is completing her PhD in public policy and administration. Jennifer is a devoted mother and grandmother, and we are proud to welcome her. Jennifer, if you would please stand up so everyone can see you, and we can welcome you with a round of applause. Well, Mr. President, that will conclude this week's Mayor's Message. And again, I want to thank each and every one of you for your work. And again, we want to encourage all of those who are here personally and those who are observing virtually to make sure you cast your ballot, however you cast it, before 7 o'clock so you can participate in this thing called democracy. So we encourage you to do that and take a few people with you as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions for the mayor?
Yeah, real quick, Mr. Mayor, the MGM Ready survey, how long is that running for?
The MGM Ready survey is going to be for how long? I don't know. I'll find out and I'll get back to you before the meeting's over.
Thank you.
Okay. To the end of next year.
Oh, okay. All right. So we got lots of time. All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. All right. On proclamation for adult education by Councilor Johnson.
Yes, Council President, thank you so much. Ashley, could you come and join us? It's Ashley Johnson. And I am going to read this proclamation and ask that the council take a photo together with her, and the mayor too is please after the reading of this. So this proclamation is from the Office of the Mayor. Whereas more than 43 million Americans can't read or write at the most basic level, while 62.7 million lack basic math skills, as well as the credentials and skills necessary to succeed in post-secondary education. And whereas every year, 1 in 3 young adults drop out of high school. And whereas American Action Forum estimates that America is short an estimated 7.5 million private sector workers across all skill levels. And whereas adult education programs like the Pivot Path contribute to solving these challenges by helping Americans move along the continuum in their educational journey to achieve basic skills and get prepared for careers in college. And whereas adult education programs in high schools and adult schools, community colleges, and community centers offer low-cost, high-value programs that upgrade the skill set of our citizens. And whereas the City of Montgomery celebrates Adult Education and Family Literacy Week as a proud participant in the National Educate and Elevate campaign, which helps our citizens learn about all their adult education options to obtain their professional and personal goals. Now, therefore, on behalf of the City of Montgomery, Alabama and its citizens, we do hereby proclaim the week of September 16th through 20th, 2004 as Adult Education and Family Literacy Week in the City of Montgomery, and that is in witness of the Mayor and all 9 council members.
Congratulations.
I walk down.
Congratulations. One of my mentees up there. That was Thank you. Congratulations. Congratulations.
When we get this, hey, right? I realize you I think we took it out of the district.
They probably do. Y'all take everything else out. Dump everything on.
All right, let's get back to work now. All right. Any special committees to report? No special committee? Cool. Y'all didn't meet. Thursday. Okay. All right. All right. No special committees report. Item number 1.
Just 1 second, Mr. President. Item 1, ordinance authorizing mayor to execute aggregate contracts of $25,000 or less without council review and approval through September 2025.
All right, Mr. Samansky.
Mr. President, this is initially offered in September, so we're at a point of moving this thing forward. The council has just received a copy of a substitution that actually changed the amount from $25,000 to $50,000. Had the opportunity to review contracts over the last 2 years that have been executed, and some of the discussions that we had with department heads last Thursday came to the determination that that was kind of a good threshold to not slow up things that may be too mundane for the council. So if there are any questions about that or the number, we can discuss those. It's a 2-part resolution, as was pointed out before, not only the number, but also passing off the power of signing as well, which is something that we are required to do annually.
Okay. Anyone have any questions, Mr. Samansky?
No questions, Mr. President, but I do have some comments. I made these comments during the meeting when we had the meeting with the council as a whole, but I want to make a public statement about this because I think it's really important for the council to consider and understand the repercussions of a decision like this. Now, previous administration this was discussed in that meeting, previous administration had a blanket authority, okay, on signing the contracts. And with this administration, in a time where we are making different developments and things are happening across the city, this is perceived as something that's done to delay progression in areas that not only I cover, but Mr. Szymanski, you cover areas that are blighted and need help and are having programs, i.e. the Peacock Track and 5 Points, that are getting things that are done and in accordance with bid law. If we do something like this, the council meets every 2 weeks. So if we did this and the council had to review it and approve it, that means that we're stepping out of our boundaries as a council. We work as the legislative body. And this is getting into, as much as it might not look like it, but we are. We will be getting into day-to-day operations. And according to Act 618, which we work and operate through, that is not our lane. And so we have to step very close and stay very clear about our ethical boundaries. And let me make sure this was said that it was looked at from best practices. Best practices means that it worked in other cities. It means that it helped with development. It means that it helped with the economic development in areas. It means that the council's oversight on contracts, that we hire department heads that are certified and credentialed in their departments to do the job that they're paid to do under the guidance and of the supervision of the mayor, not the city council. Employees work for the mayor, not the city council. And when we say that and they're hired to do that job, now we're saying that they're not qualified and we need to overlook what they're doing, that's stepping in the day-to-day. And when we give a number, there may be one small contract, because this is a small number to you all. I mean, it may look big, but this is a small number compared to the contract that we work with in a municipality. And we want to hold up projects every 2 weeks. And according to the state's bid law, it needs 30 days. In 30 days, contracts have to pass in the city of Montgomery. And if they don't, the process starts over. Not it starts over and we got to go back through the routing. It starts over from the beginning. So a project that's happening in Sheridan Heights, a project that's happening at Peacock Track with Tuskegee University, those are halted for another 6 months, maybe a year, because a council member may have a question at a council meeting that we already waited 2 weeks to have. Now we halted another 45 days, 60 days, 6 months, a year. I don't need to go on, right? So this impedes in the operations and the best practices of a city and of city government. So we have to be very careful the lines that we cross as council members and legislators. And now I want to also put out there that this happened in other cities. It's other cities that do this. But let me say what happened to those council members. Because what this is, now I'm getting oversight on who's getting contracts, what area they getting contracts in, how much those contracts were for. Now I can tell my buddies what contracts they can apply for. And now what that means is that now I'm putting myself and other council members at jeopardy of going to jail. And I will say publicly, I am not going to jail for somebody else's buddy getting a cut in a contract. But FBI went and did investigation, ethical investigation, and in Tallahassee, Florida, Jackson, Mississippi, bribery scandals have happened and their council members have been imprisoned. I am not going to jail for nobody's agenda or for somebody trying to oversight something, because things are put in place by state law that we must abide by, and we have to be careful, council members, what we decide today. Very careful, but I will say that I am totally against this, and if we do it, let's do it in a way that it was done in previous administration and all these contracts were passed and this work was done in the city. But now that we have minority participation and areas that are getting development that haven't been getting development and have been disinvested in for over 30 years, now getting work, now we need oversight, and now we got a committee out here watching us that want to have oversight and want to have some piece of the pie and play, or mad because they aren't still getting play in this city. So I want to put this on record, and I want to publicly state so the community and the people know that as they come in here and do this, you come in here and do this too, because you need some work in your community. I need work in my community. I ain't come here to oversee no contracts. I came here to get the work done. We got people that are in position to get that job done. That's not what I got hired to do. I didn't get hired. I'm not full-time. No council member is full-time. We didn't get hired to come in here and look at every single contract. And by Act 618, we have the authority to investigate and look at anything that's happening in this city, in any of these departments. Every council member has the authority, and they don't even have to, you don't have to say I got the authority. You can call and talk to our chief of staff and those department heads, and they will gladly tell us what's happening in our districts, how much the contracts cost, and the process they went through. We are not qualified and do not know contract law. We are not attorneys up here because we'll be sitting next to the mayor as a city attorney. And if any council member wants to get that deep in the weeds, they should apply for a job at the city of Montgomery, not be a council member. Mr. President, that's all I have.
Mr. President,
Mr. Samansky.
obviously there's a couple of things to clear up here. Number one, it is municipal law by the state of Alabama for us to pass on the power to sign contracts. The League of Municipalities put out a 5-page article about that. And I didn't get hired either. I got elected to be a steward of taxpayer dollars to understand exactly how our resources are getting spent and used. We have a budgeting process, but we also have a priority lists of how those things are getting done. And I think this increases the level of accountability, the level of checks and balances for the city, and also brings us to the table to have discussions. Now, just to clear up, these are contracts that have already gone through the bidding process. We talked about that in the meeting. Mr. Tate, Mr. Johnson were some of the people that commented on the fact that this doesn't influence the procurement of contracts. This is simply the final approval. And as I stated before, multiple times, whether it be the city of Birmingham, Auburn, Tuscaloosa, Mobile, Huntsville, this is something that happens. I understand why there may be debate about this, but to me, it's pretty clear. And from what we saw and what the substitution offers is a limit at $50,000. I think that's one of the largest, if not the highest limits in the state. And so I think for good governance, for communication amongst city council and the mayor's office and its departments, and also just for good old-fashioned checks and balances, this is something that we have to do. Now, we can debate the number. I looked at all 260 contracts from 2024. I came up with the number because I saw basically the number of contracts and the amount of money that was inside that number of contracts, and that seemed like a reasonable number to me. We can make it 50,000, we can make it 75, we can make it 100,000 if you want to. I'm open to the discussion, but I do think when we're talking about contracts that are over $1 million or over $500,000 or $250,000, I would like to at least be informed. And to your point about the timeline, these are things that have been procured. We are the final step. And you know what? If we are at a deadline, I am happy to pick up the phone and take a call to talk about why it's important for us not to hold up the passage of a contract. That kind of dialogue is important for us to have. And I think that unless there's a discussion about the number or any other questions from the council, I'd like to make a motion to adopt.
Okay, what have you got before you? 25,000?
50,000 and
Okay.
the
You have to
substitution.
substitute.
Okay, you're going to have to make a motion to adopt and then a motion to substitute.
Mr. President, can I offer my comments on this?
Mr. Mayor.
I think that this ordinance is one that isn't needed for us as a city. We have put in place what I would say good governance steps from the very first day we came in 2019. And we have had an open and transparent approach to city council members as well as the leadership about contracts. And as a matter of fact, we added several steps to the RFP and RFQ process that weren't there. The goal for us is to make sure that we don't add levels of bureaucracy to the government that slow down what the citizens are asking us to do. And as someone who's doing this now about 5 years, I see this as slowing down the process. I see this as watering down the process of what we're trying to do. I don't have an issue in any department sharing with any council member at any time any question that they may have on a contract or an expenditure that's not a contract. Those opportunities are always open. I don't believe an ordinance is necessary in order for us to have good government. There are a lot of things the council mentioned that are happening in those cities that I call good government. The council objected. One is appointment authority in those cities that were just recommended by the mayor. Good government. So we can't pick and choose, what things are good government, what things aren't. I think that for how we have operated the last several years has been the council authorizing the mayor's office to execute contracts and certainly provide information, whether that is to a council member, a member of the public, or anyone else. We pass all of our auditing reports from the state auditor's office with flying colors. We instituted a performance review which will show that we will save the city $11 million over the next 5 years minimum. So I don't know that any administration has probably been more forthcoming or more interested
in trying to make sure that our procedures financially not only meet the standard, but exceed the standard. What I don't want us to do is to add a layer of bureaucracy that's going to slow down the projects that we are really trying hard to execute on behalf of the citizens of Montgomery. But where there's a question of any contract or any expenditure again, we have no issue with that. The finance department has no issue with that, and I certainly don't have an issue with that. And we can communicate that consistently to the council or to anyone else as needed. I just don't think that an ordinance in this case is needed. And I think that as we have operated over the last 5 years, has provided not only great production and great results on behalf of the city, but I think it's also provided great stewardship that the city has benefited from and the taxpayers have benefited from as well, without an ordinance limiting what we can do and when we can do it and bringing it back before a committee in order to execute it. That's my comment.
Mr. President, last statement.
Ms. Johnson.
I know you put it up for a vote. So I just want to clarify. I understand what he said, and I just want to clarify that to the people that are watching, that are listening, that may have influence. When he said it doesn't influence the current process, it influences the future. Please know that. Don't let that go past that. It influences something, whether it's the future. And to be very clear, when we're doing something in the city, and as council members, when I say that we have communication lines with the department heads that are credentialed to do this work, they have a Monday morning meeting about capital investments and improvements in this city. All the projects across the city, and every council member is invited and has an invite on our calendars where we can come in and sit as long as it's not a quorum. So do not be confused or think that we don't know what's happening, we don't understand the contracts, we see the contracts, we know, and we can ask questions in those meetings to every one of the department heads, because all of them are in there. Any department that is involved in a capital project in the city of Montgomery meets, and we are invited to those meetings. So we already do this. Again, this is something to delay the process. And if we're gonna do something, let's do what the last administration had, Mr. President. I asked, and Mr. Szymanski, that we have the same ordinance that was put up before. We're doing more work in the city than has ever been done right now, and it's proven, and we have better processes, more qualified employees, and department heads that are doing this work. So let's use that same contract or ordinance that we had before. That would be my request.
All right, Mr. Szymanski.
And I've made a motion to adopt, so.
Well, can I move on this? A couple of points real quick.
Okay.
As we talk about delays, and I don't know if you all can hear me.
We got a delay right now. We're delaying right now.
Well, no, I think this is important.
Okay, come on, Mr.
If
Reed.
the council does pass this ordinance, one of the things I would ask is if we would hold off implementing this ordinance till we get past 1 January 2025. We have a number of ARPA projects that have to be closed out that are coming close for execution. If those go past 1 January, 31 December 2024, we will lose those ARPA dollars at the level of millions of dollars, not just a few hundreds of thousands of dollars, but millions of dollars if we don't get those executed. The other part of it is, number 2 point is, I think we talk about the bid law. Well, what happens is when we go out and contract, once that bid is contracted, or we select the bidder and we start negotiating that contract, we have 30 days to execute that contractor with the selected bidder. If we go past 30 days, the bidder has the opportunity to come back and renegotiate at a different cost of what they bidded on said contract. So if we get into a situation where we have a particular contract that has some discussion between the council, we only have one opportunity to get that essentially based on when it hits the council. We only have about one opportunity for the council to review and approve that said contract before that contractor can come back and raise the cost in which they bid that particular RFQ, RFP to the city. So what happens is we puts us in jeopardy of having more cost just on the simple time delay on those contracts. So I wanted to make sure that the council was clear on that, and also the 1 January 2025 date. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. Mr. Samansky?
Yeah, and I'd be happy to. I think Mr. Reed brings up a good point about the ARPA contracts. I know that the Montgomery Thrive Initiative, all that's been established. If there, I don't know if the clerk can allow there to be a substitution to exempt the ARPA contracts. And just so everybody knows, that is, we are on a very strict deadline on those, and I think that's a valid point. But I would hate to try and to kick this for everything through the end of the year. If there a way to substitute out the ARPA dollars, or do we have to go with the start date that is after December 1st?
All right, what's your motion?
Wait. Got a motion to adopt the original. You gonna make a motion to substitute
With the substitution that was presented to the council,
the $50,000, and you want to amend that now? Make a motion to amend,
yes, I do. Make
To-
your life more difficult. To exclude ARPA dollars,
exclude
or contracts for the Montgomery Thrive Initiative, whatever the best way to describe.
contracts for ARPA funds, contracts for projects with ARPA funds. Okay, you're gonna have to vote on the motion to amend first.
All right, just walk me through this.
Okay, I'm ready. got a motion?
You're voting now on the motion to amend the substitute. We work backwards.
Okay.
Yep.
Motion to amend the substitute.
All right, all in favor of motion to amend the substitute, please raise your hand.
5,
All opposed have the same right.
6. Ms. Johnson, Mrs. Raleigh, I don't have your vote. You abstained. It's going to be 5, 3, and 1. So the motion to amend carries.
Okay,
So,
Hold on just a second, I'm still making notes. Okay, now the motion to adopt the substitute as amended.
as amended.
yes.
All right, have a motion. Go ahead, make the motion. Mr.
Motion to adopt the substitute as amended.
The motion is on the floor. You're
Sure.
just calling for the vote now.
Okay.
Colin? Yeah.
All in favor of the motion to substitute as amended, please raise your hand.
5,
All opposed have the same right.
3, and 1 abstention. Ms. Riley. The motion to substitute carries. Now we're back to the main motion to adopt as substituted and amended.
All right,
One more vote.
Okay. Motion to adopt as substituted and amended.
And it's
it's motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
5,
All opposed have the same right.
3, and 1 abstention, Mrs. Riley. So the motion to adopt as substituted and amended carries.
And this is effective, did we say to January 2025?
That was not made part of the motion, no,
Okay,
sir.
that's ARPA,
Just, they only amended to exclude ARPA funds.
okay.
Item 2, reconsideration of resolution number 123-2024, towing company doing business as D&D Towing and Recovery, 23 West Patton Avenue.
All right, item number 2, Ms. Riley,
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Ms. Sophia Ellis. Your name for the record, ma'am?
Sophia Ellis.
Okay.
Okay, Miss Ellis, who's the owner of this company?
Deanthony Rose.
Okay, I need Deanthony Rose present. I want to talk to Deanthony Rose about his business.
Okay.
Okay?
And I have a letter from
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
McQueen for him to park the tow truck at his business. I was told to bring out here.
I
So-
want to talk to Deanthony Rose about his business.
Ms. Riley, a question on this. I know we didn't have this item on the agenda for, 3 months.
Right.
So what's the holdup?
I've been
on-
trying to get in touch with Mr. Deanthony Rose about this business because the community is concerned about this business. He's parking the truck in the street. He's parking the truck in other people's area. They're parking cars in people's yard. And he said he's towing cars, but he's also towing cars onto the property in that area.
No, ma'am, those are his cars.
I'm
And I have permission from the owners that he can park his cars in the tow truck.
I'm talking to the president at this time.
Okay.
So, and I want to speak with Mr. Deanthony so we can get an understanding of what he is actually doing, but he is not coming to us to talk to us and bring anything up. I'm the one who has to receive the phone calls of the concerned citizens over there at night, dealing with what's going on. So I want to talk to Mr. Deanthony about his business.
All right, so my question while I ask that, Mr. Deanthony seems like he's not gonna ever show up.
He's towing cars.
So as a council as a whole, we have always accepted a representative for any other business.
I understand.
Let me finish.
Yes, sir.
So if she's representing the owner, as she might be an employee, if she's gonna represent the owner and you're gonna get the question asked or answered that you're trying to get resolved, we can move on. Or you can just
Mr.
move the vote up or
President,
down.
Mr. President, I've asked Mr. Deanthony to meet
But
with
he
me,
has not
and
showed
he
my
has
point.
said he would. He has texted me and told me he would. I would like to talk to Mr. Deanthony because the business is Mr. Deanthony's business. He has no employees. From my understanding, he has no employees but himself.
But my
But
question I'm
Mr.
trying to ask, what are you trying to get from Mr.
I want to
Deanthony
talk to him
Rose
about
that you can't
everything
get from the representative?
what's going on in that neighborhood with Mr. Deanthony, Mr. President. He's not abiding by everything that goes
So
on
what's
in
the
that area.
consequences?
He's
What
targeted.
is the consequence?
Right now, I'm not gonna give them their license and approve for them to have their license until me and Mr. Deanthony sit down and have a conversation
He got his
about the
license.
business. He doesn't have a license when it was transferred over to my district.
No,
He
he
had
gave
one
him
that he
his
was in.
Hold on, one at a time. What I'm
Yeah,
understanding, he
business,
has
right?
a license to do business because that's why he's towing cars.
But we need to
We're
talk to
talking
Mr. D.
about- I think when it started in District 2. I'm just trying to
Yes.
get clarification where we're going. It started and then they transferred the location of where the car or the truck would be parked. That's where it's gonna be parked. So what is it that you need? That they're still towing cars is what I'm trying to get to.
And I'm trying to get you to understand, he's not just towing the cars and taking the cars away. He's towing the cars and putting them on people's property over there. And that's not all of his cars that are over there, Mr.
So
Calhoun.
I think, I'm not going back and
president.
forth about this, but what I'm
Yes,
saying
sir.
is they're towing cars and putting it on someone's property that has not authorized it, then you
They-
kick the car, that's trespassing.
They have done that, Mr. President, and they've also had cars towed from over there. He's parking them in the street. He's parking his trucks in areas that are not authorized for him to have his truck parked there.
Okay.
Yes.
So if he comes
Sir?
in 2 weeks, or he shows up at the end of this meeting,
I will
and-
talk,
and-
yes.
And we talk, and he say, okay, I'm gonna do this, so what will be the next step?
When I-
Because it's not gonna stop him from doing what he's doing.
He can't just park these cars everywhere over in that area, Mr. President Calhoun.
but how do you
And
stop
he just
it?
can't leave those cars out there. We gotta enforce some form of law
But
around
we
here.
don't enforce it as
I
a
know we
council.
do not, but as a council, we have the right to protect our citizens and help them with their
I just think we're
area.
just holding this up on this agenda. Either you're gonna vote it up or down or don't get a license because the guy's operating.
Well-
And it's not anything about the parking. If I heard you talking about the parking, that's not gonna change the situation.
We're gonna have to change something because we're calling the police about these areas over there. I'm getting the calls about the area over there where it's being towed. I'm getting the calls about where his tow truck is located. I'm getting the calls from the service station that's on that corner where he's parking his truck also in that service station
So
area
what is the
and
truck-
putting
what is the
cars
service
over there
station?
as well. They've been calling it, they've had cars towed from over there.
So, okay.
They've had cars towed. But we gotta get an understanding what kind of business we're gonna run over in this area, because we're authorizing him to run a business out of a house. And there's nothing wrong with that. I believe in small business. I have no problem with small business. But we need to be in compliance on how we're gonna do it and be respectful with our neighbors in the neighborhood.
Okay. I still don't understand the point, but we can move on. She needs to see Mr. Deanthony Rose, so he might need to come to the next meeting. All right, item number 3.
That one's carried over to the next meeting.
That's the consensus of the council? Yes.
Item 3, ordinance regulating parking of commercial vehicles on residential property.
Ms. Riley?
That's the one we already talked about.
All right, we're carrying over 3 and 4.
Gonna carry over 3 and 4
Yes, ma'am.
to the next meeting. Item 5, ordinance amending section 3-9 of Code of Ordinances, hours of sale of alcoholic beverages.
Ms. Mitchell?
Mr. President, this ordinance does not have the language that we're looking for, that these establishments must close at 2 o'clock, not stop alcohol sales at 2. So I'm waiting on that ordinance, so I ask that we carry this over to the next meeting.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mitchell.
Thank you, sir.
Item 6 has been withdrawn, but we do have a couple people on the agenda that wants to speak on this. Joyce Delaney, if you're in the audience.
At this point, it's moot.
Okay.
They would have to go back through planning commission before it could ever be reconsidered again.
I wanted Mr. Pruitt to hear what he had to say.
I have heard.
All right, we'll move on to item number 7.
Item 7, hearing on proposed ordinance rezoning 5 parcels located, 9.5 acres located on the south side of Edna Brake Lucas Drive, approximately 600 feet west of Sprott Drive, from an Ag 1 district to an M1 district.
Good afternoon. My name is Chase Stewart, MCC Properties, 9194 Helena Drive and Pike Road. We're looking to rezone the 5 parcels of land on Edna Brake Lucas Drive from Ag 1 to M1. We purchased this property in 2022. It was filled with 2 abandoned trailers that were basically dilapidated, 10 or more tractor trailers that were filled with junk items, dressers, clothes. Once we purchased the property, we did have the land cleared off, which, based on the response of other individuals close by, it did decrease the crime in the area. After a year or so of sitting on the property, we've had, and due to the interest of others and the businesses located in close proximity, we feel that the M1 zoning would be the best use of the land moving forward.
All right, what's your name again, sir, for the record?
Chase Stewart.
All right. And your name, sir?
Chance Perry.
Okay.
I'm going to make a motion to adopt.
Hold on,
Well,
hold
we
on.
need to do opposition.
Okay, I have on this agenda item to speak, B.T. Durham. Come on up. And also Stephanie Lowry.
We're going to give them 3 minutes each, Mr. President.
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon. I'm B.T. Durham, and I represent Catherine Durham, the owner of the property next to the one up for rezoning. My wife and I oppose the rezoning for 3 reasons. First, it's inconsistent with the Envision Montgomery 2040 long-range strategic plan adopted by the Planning Committee. Second, we plan to put a residence on the lot as soon as we get it prepped. Third, the rezoning adds little or no value to the area, and it detracts from the character of the community. Envision Montgomery 2040 was a way for the Planning Commission to develop Montgomery in a smart way through proper zoning, proper development, and preservation of parks, nature trails, and agricultural spaces. The rezoning request would convert land that is designated in the 2040 plan for parks, agriculture, and farming to industrial and warehouse uses. My second point is we intend to use this lot for, as a residence for our disabled niece. 4 weeks ago, we began clearing off this lot for inspection of the existing septic tank, and we're arranging for the entire lot to be cleared within the next 30 days. Once we get things prepped, we intend to move my niece and her family to this safe, healthy, and quiet environment. Now, I spoke with Mr. Stewart, and despite his assurances that the warehouse would be a good thing for the area, he knows that once M1 is approved, any subsequent owner of the land could put anything authorized in an M1 zone so long as it meets building and health codes. He cannot guarantee that there will be no increased noise, traffic, dust, or fumes from an M1 activity. Any of these things would impact our enjoyment of this residence, and it would detract from the community as well. The last point is this. Rezoning this property would negatively impact the residential and agricultural character of the community. I bought property on Edna Brake Lucas Road 40 years ago for my family. 18 years ago, I built a 3,400 square foot home on our 1.5 acre lot, and we rented out the other acre lot down at the end of the street. In the past 18 years, there have been some good things that have been going on in this area. I have seen a daycare built, a private school built, a church, and even a Buddhist monk monastery. I have seen a diverse group of homeowners buy or remodel, significantly remodel, homes in the street. This area has become home for 7 black families, 4 white families, 2 Hispanic families, 1 multiracial family, and a group of 6 Asian monks. Among our neighbors, we have 4 retired military homeowners from the Air Force, Army, Navy, your veterans of Vietnam, Desert Storm, and Gulf II. What we all want is a safe, quiet area, and we want you to reject this.
Thank you, Mr. Durham. Ms. Lowry, Stephanie.
Yeah, I have some pictures that I'd like to give y'all so you could see what the area actually looks like, because the aerial views will not give you a good view of it. Can I hand them to you? These packages will have everything in there, but I'm just speaking.
Now, you for this or this?
I'm sorry? I'm for this. I mean, no, I'm against this, I'm sorry. I'm not, I do not want this.
Thank you.
I'm going to go ahead and read this because we tend to get scattered each time we're up here. But I'm Stephanie Lowry. I reside at 13308 Edna Brake Lucas Drive, and I own the property directly to the south of these 5 parcels. Many of our residents couldn't be here today due to work and their school activities. So I'm speaking on behalf of them as well as mine. The Wares Ferry plat residents object to the rezoning of the 5 parcels contained in this plat for numerous reasons. The request to rezone these 5 parcels from AGR 1 to M1 does not meet the Envision Montgomery 2040 comprehensive plan that expresses the city's intent for how Montgomery should use its land resources in the future. In the previous 2 public meetings regarding this rezoning request, Mr. Robert Smith of the Land Use Division has stated that his rezoning request is not consistent with that plan, nor the future land use map. According to Mr. Smith, this land is classified as rural edge conservation residential. This area is mostly single-family residences with some agricultural uses. The intent of this zoning classification in the Envision Montgomery 2040 plan is to encourage the preservation of natural features such as open space amenities for the community and visitors to the region. The AGR 1 zoning for this area provides lands that accommodate agriculture operation and low-density residential use. Our community consists of single-family residential homes with agricultural uses. It was originally platted in 1988. This is the reason that I and other neighbors purchased this property in the area. Most of us have children, livestock, pets, and enjoy gardening. Lighting is limited, traffic is limited, and noise is limited. The proposed rezoning request of this property has been described as for warehouse use. When I and other property owners met with the current owner, Chase Stewart of MCC Properties, and his potential buyers as recommended by the City Planning Commission on the 22nd of August, we were told that the buyer's intention was to build a 10,000 square foot warehouse to house and distribute goods to other businesses that they own. During this meeting, the potential buyers also mentioned that they were going to be doing some manufacturing at this warehouse.
Ms. Lowry, I'm gonna give you 1 more minute because they started your time while you was passing out those things, so you have 1 minute.
1 minute?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Anyhow, so basically, if this zoning request and their intended use, I mean, it just does not address the community need and will potentially cause harm to our property owners, their homesteads, by the way, light pollution, noise pollution, traffic, littering, and crime and drainage. Since the purchase of this property, we've had particularly flooding issues on my property alone that has went to other people's property, and we have put in thousands of dollars worth of money into sump pumps and everything to try to keep this from happening. The reason being is because there is wetlands that is located on this property. One of them is 90% contained on the 5 parcels. And then summarizing, What Mr. Reggie Dunn said at the Planning Commission stated in our initial public hearing is that he realized that Mr. Stewart is trying to sell the property, and that once he sells it, Mr. Stewart will have no control over what the new owners do, and that they'll potentially leave the residents of West Ferry Acres at a disadvantage. Let's see. And another item that was mentioned by Mr. Stewart is that he had spoken to a Miss Rayburn, who owns the middle parcel of the 3 parcels to the right on the east side, and that she had no concerns to what he was proposing. But the only problem is that she does not live on Edna Brake Lucas Drive or in West Ferry Acres.
Okay. All right. That's your time. Thank you, Ms. Lauer. We got your point on. You're opposing this item. You're opposing this item. All right. Mr. Pruitt.
I'd like to put a qualification on this so they can't sell the property if they're going to have an intended use for it, that we qualify that for intended use, that they can't turn around and sell it and do something else with it, that they would have to come back and get it rezoned.
That's why they're putting it in one, Glenn.
Because I heard her concern that if they sold it, and I heard them say they wanted to do a warehouse, so, you know, why can't we figure out exactly what they want to do and put a queue on it?
Can I, Mr. President, can I ask that?
Let me get Mr. Pruitt. You finished?
Yes,
You
sir.
gonna ask the question about what's going?
Would y'all have
What
a
type of
problem
warehouse?
doing that?
Can't hear anybody.
Would y'all have a problem doing that?
What's that?
Putting a qualification on it, whatever your intention is, that's what we rezone it for. So therefore, you can't turn around and sell it, because M1 is a wide variety of stuff that you could do.
Well, Glenn, let me speak to this just a second, Mr. President. Me, Charlie, and Julie went out and gone on this property. Miss Lauer, you're correct. You're on the block over, and there's probably from here to the road out there, wetland, heavy forested, that they cannot build in. They're going to have to build at the edge of this road out here. Most of their land, that 9 acres, they can't build on. It's in the wetland. They know that. I mean, we're not going to be allowed to do that. So if they develop it with today's projects, and it creates, the engineer goes out and they build a 10,000 square foot building, then they got to put in a retainage and detention pond to catch that water that building would generate, and then let it go to that wetland slowly. The house next door is got a bunch of warehouses and stuff. Me and Julie and Charlie toured it. It is, there's a trucking company diagonally across the street. Jack Ellison Paint is across the street. Another business across the street, and the temple is across the street. That is correct.
And I was out there this morning, and I have recent photos of all the lots around us on the Edna Brake side. I've got them with me if you'd like me to.
But you can't see their houses hardly from their lot.
I want to see the photos.
The still photos, there's some maps in there, and there's also a letter from another neighbor that's in favor of this. But the photos from this morning are on the back of the package.
Do you have a picture of what the land looked like before you, right when you purchased it? Okay, thank you.
Before?
Right when you got it.
Yeah, there's the first couple after that letter. There's a map showing who that letter's from, and there's
Okay.
another one showing all the trailers and tractor trailers that were scattered throughout the
All
property.
right, thank you.
Mr. President, these guys bought this thing, and they cleared up. You look at the old photos; they cleared a ton of stuff out and a ton of problems out. So they took something that was a tremendous eyesore and cleared it up.
Mr. President, can I also ask, what type of, without, you don't have to give me your business plan, so to speak, but what type of industry is this?
Yeah,
that you're trying to take
it'd be
to this area?
a distribution store where they house their items that they put in their stores, like
So it's products.
correct.
You won't be making anything or putting anything out in the air, messing with the climate or anything like that. You won't be
To
producing
my
anything.
understanding, there's none of that that's supposed to happen.
All right.
Mr. President,
Mr. Pruitt.
who's this closest to? I know it's in the police jurisdiction.
Yeah, it's in District 4, and that's my point.
No, it's in PJ. isn't it?
Yeah, it's in the PJ, but it's in the county county commission District 4.
Is it closest to Ed?
It is.
All right.
Whatever you want to do.
I mean,
They want to put a queue on it. What if y'all put no manufacturing and warehouse on it? Is that going to kill you on that?
Based on the multiple aspects of interest that we've had, that would probably be the best use of it at this point. I believe the adjacent property is also zoned M1.
Yeah, but if we put a Q on it, you couldn't have manufacturing. There's no manufacturing out there currently, is it?
I'd have to check with the businesses across the street. I believe that the ETK Logistics has some aspect of it.
Okay, yeah. Charlie, you got any questions? Mr. President, I'm gonna move to approve. I mean, whatever I need to do from there, Ms. Blaylock.
Or do you want to put the Q on it?
No, ma'am.
Okay, just
All
a
right.
motion to adopt.
Did you say there was no manufacturing out there, but yet we're gonna zone it manufacturing?
No, there's Jack Allison Painting, there's some other company, there's a truck
Yeah,
terminal right across the street.
ETK Logistics, and then cabinetry and woodworking shop.
Hey, there's
Woodworking Dynamics in it.
If we carried this over for 2 weeks, how would that affect? You're trying to get it rezoned to sell it, to redevelop it. If we carry this over 2 weeks, so I would like to talk with the county commissioner in that District 4, because we hadn't talked about it. This is one thing, and I respect what these citizens are saying. You know, you're rezoning the property that they don't actually know what's coming to, and they have invested in that. So I want to have a conversation with some more people, and then it's just coming on the agenda. And it had no recommendation from our planning commission. It didn't even get a motion.
Yeah, there was limited amount of members at the last planning commission hearing.
Yeah. So, you know,
Mr. Grimes, do you withdraw your motion to adopt?
I want to have a conversation with some people.
Yeah, if they, if we're going, yeah.
Okay,
That's
you
fine.
withdraw it, and
Yeah,
you're going to
let's carry it over for 2 weeks.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
And let's have
Consistent 2 weeks.
Thank you, Mr. Ryan.
Item 8, hearing on proposed ordinance rezoning one lot located at 3701 Atlanta Highway from an O2 district to a B2Q district with restrictions to a daycare.
All right, hold on. Your name for the record, sir?
DeAndre Rawlinson.
I can't hear you.
Speaking to-
DeAndre Rawlinson.
DeAndre Ross?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You got that, Ms. Bliss?
We come on behalf of the daycare, rezone of a daycare.
Are you the owner or just representing?
Represent.
of
And
the
I also
daycare?
have something to pass out for our fencing.
All right. All right, we're gonna have a hearing on this. Anyone oppose item number 8, if you would come forward. I don't have anybody on the agenda. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, so tell us what you're gonna do with, on item number 8. What are you trying to get rezoned?
Daycare center. Daycare.
Mr. President, this is the old Horn Insurance Building on the corner of Atlanta Highway and Wares Ferry Road across from Seton Haven. It's got the real kind of funny roof that goes up to the top.
That's Alabama World Travel.
That's where it is.
Okay.
I know, but you said the old Horn Building, it's not.
It was a Horn Building, then was Alabama World Travel. It forgets.
All right, Mr. Grimes, it's in District 1. What's your wish?
All right, who is the owner? Who is the actual owner?
Amanda.
Is she here?
Who? I'm sorry.
Amanda and Katie, they are my,
All right, CC who?
Can you speak into the mic,
Sir,
please?
your name for the record.
good afternoon. My name is Stephen. I came here to represent my niece, Amanda Lee and Katie Lee. They are the owner.
Okay, all right. All right. Question, where are your children gonna do outside? Because I'm very familiar with that corner right there. Obviously, both streets are heavily, I mean, obviously the Atlanta Highway's off the hook heavy, but, so where are they gonna have any outdoor activities at?
We have the side and the back area.
How big is it?
It's on the sheet, the piece of paper gave out, that's the part that's being fenced in for the children.
This about the proposal, this?
That's the fenced in portion for the kids where they'll play at.
How large is this space? Like, what's the square footage of the outdoor play area?
Probably about
according to A Plus Fence Company, they said it's going to be 122 feet, linear feet, from the backyard to the front of the building. It'll be fenced.
How wide?
Approximately 20 feet wide.
Okay. What is it?
You see it?
All right, Mr. Grant?
What you gonna do, David?
We're going to carry this over for 2 weeks, we think. And if the owners could possibly be here, that'd be great, but let's carry it over for 2 weeks.
All right, we'll carry it over 2 weeks, come back, second meeting in November. Thank you.
Item 9, hearing on proposed ordinance rezoning 2 lots located at 1751 Yarborough Street from an R65D district to a B2Q district with restrictions.
Owners of the property, please come forward.
Hello?
Hey,
How
Your
are
name for the
y'all?
record?
I'm good. How are you all?
What's your name?
Kenya Carroll.
Robert Carroll.
All right, so
How long have you all been operating right here?
Well, we were technically not supposed to be operating from what we found out, which is why we're here. Okay. So about maybe 3 months before we got closed down, but prior to, we called and things were misconstrued and misconveyed to us.
Okay. Who did you speak with?
Health Department, or a representative from the Health Department. I don't know if you have a letter that I submitted. You might not with all that information in it. But we called the city as well and just got crazy information.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because this isn't a business district at all. This is in the middle of a neighborhood.
Yes.
So I wouldn't approve this if it would have, if I would have had the conversation.
Right, right.
Because it's dead in the middle, and that is we are cleaning up Highland Gardens. Let me say it like that. We are cleaning up Highland Gardens. And so I don't even think it's a safe space to operate. But we have so many wonderful locations that I would love to sit down with you and talk about. Well, we would love to have this in business, but right now this doesn't work with Envision 2040, our plans for Montgomery, our plans for Highland Gardens, and just the state of Highland Gardens right now. And having a business right in the center of a neighborhood, I've received calls about it, but I said, well, I don't see a business license or anything like this.
No.
But so to speak, I'm gonna go ahead and decline this, and we're gonna have a conversation on some other options for your business so that you can have a business, but that is a residential area. I wouldn't change it to a business.
Am I able to comment? Or
Yes, go
I don't
ahead.
know how this works.
Go ahead.
So we were told that it was in line with Envision 2024 Montgomery by the Land Use Commission. And also, I've lived in Highland Gardens for about 15 years, my children and I. So the state, you are exactly right. It is not in a good state. But we are committed to changing the narrative of Highland Gardens. And again, it started from COVID. We were just wanting to gather our family together, and it just kind of came into this thing. So I was like, well, let me call and see. Well, they were like, it can't be more than 200 square feet. You can't block any neighbors' driveways. So we weren't aware. And I have a license for catering. When I was catering before, but there was never any ill intent at all. It was so public. And we were like posting things, we were unaware, but now that we have been aware, we want the opportunity to make that area. And up the street from us, there's mechanic shops, there's daycare centers. We want the opportunity, and since we've done it, even cleaning up our own street, it's been clear that maybe there needs to be more positive so that we can feel like we can walk the areas like some of the other places like Cloverdale, or maybe it'll change the hearts and minds of people because it's heavily rented. So there are not many owners even left in the community, which is why we have so much crime and whatever. But I'm just a firm believer that somebody has to do something to change it, and we're committed to doing it. Like I said, we've been here for many years. I've never owned a business. I wouldn't know the first thing. But once we were told, we came right in to try to do it. And I just would like the opportunity to even give in a conversation with you. I would like the opportunity, and I emailed you. I never got a response. You might not have seen it. It's okay. But I have it with me. But I would like the opportunity to be considered for that and to fully understand why there are other businesses allowed in the area and not, because it's just right now on my street, pots and pans. There are other places, but I understand now more about zoning, but I would like the opportunity to be able to be a part of changing that.
Yeah, love to. And like you stated, it's zoning and business districts and all that, but we can have I'd love to sit down with you because it is needed in the area. That's why I said just love to sit down with you and put you in the right space. But like, not in particular right there, or maybe see what we can look at. But there is a lot of opportunity.
And it's an empty lot. It's 2 empty lots that we purchased years ago just for our yard. But we really don't want it. The effects that it's had, even on the people that have come, it just kind of transforms you. You don't know where you are.
Yeah,
it doesn't aware. But I understand. But I would like to.
Yes,
kind of.
We will. Yes, ma'am, we will. And I don't know. Some people put M. Johnson and I'm M.T. Johnson, so I may have never received it.
Okay.
Because I probably would have, but I'm going to meet you out
Mr.
here.
President.
And Mr. President, we're going to carry this.
Okay, Mr. Mitchell, we'll come back to you.
So let me, first of all, in saying that, you know, I do my research. I looked at your website. I looked at your Facebook. I love what you're doing. And Mr. President, I just feel like, you know, we can allow people to have a beauty salon in their backyard, but when you come to somebody that's actually have invested, because I'm originally from the north side, so I know where Yarborough, I know where Texas Street is, so you know I'm there where you are. I even passed by your place just to get a first glimpse of what you're doing, and I love your idea. If you were somewhere in somewhere else, you know, it wouldn't be a problem. And I just hate that we're doing this. I would love to see you flourish, and I know you don't want to move because you're the heart of that neighborhood. I have spoken to many people that's right there that love what you're doing.
And we have neighbors here who want to see it.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
who've been there for years.
Yes, ma'am.
And I don't understand why it's allowed other places and not on ours. Our neck of the woods is just disheartening, so to speak. Because we do have to travel so far to get that experience.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. President, you need to close your public hearing.
All right, the public hearing has been held. It's proper for the council. Ms. Johnson?
I actually want to carry it, Mr. President, just so I can see.
You want to carry it over?
Does it have to be? Oh.
It's going to be carried over, not moved indefinite. So 2 weeks, you guys had that conversation.
Yes, sir.
And come back.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Item 10, ordinance repealing ordinance number 40-2024, gun ID requirement.
All right. On item, Mr. Pruitt, on item 10, did you get your answers from legal?
Yes, sir, I did. Mr. President, we're gonna do 2 more weeks. He thinks he can come up with something, though, more than the $30 that we can actually, you know, have a leg to stand on.
Okay.
And I don't wanna just do it, just to do it, but he thinks that, you know, we can come up with something pretty good. And tell me if I'm wrong, if I'm putting words in your mouth.
Okay, so, Ms. Blaylock, we have public communication that signed up on the item since it's being carried over. Do I need to have public communication to hold them up for 2 weeks?
I would go ahead and hear them.
Okay. All right, so on item number 10, Candace Frazier, Debosky Board, Richard Williams, Father Manuel, Robert Wagstaff, and I have 2 that's on here that didn't put a number. Bishop Austin or Antonio and Tim Slager.
Good evening, council,
Okay.
mayor, community. Just wanted to voice my
Need your
concern.
name.
I'm sorry. My
Need
name
your
is
name.
Debosky Boyd. Yes, I just wanted to take a moment to read a couple of points that I've gathered with some research regarding the gun ID ordinance. I think it's just very smart to move in a direction to add this ID point to the ordinance. I think it's critical because just a lot of violence going on in our community. There are a lot of people who are around my age, young professionals who are voicing their opinions to me because I'm in the city, saying how they would like to come back to the city
They would like to do business, they would like to work and raise their family in the city, but they're just concerned about some of the issues we're having with the gun violence, with the different type of violence that we're having. So I just kind of wanted to just make a couple points. You know, requiring this ID helps ensure that only individuals who are legal, eligible to carry firearms can do so. It's very important, and it enables authorities to verify that people have undergone the proper background checks, met legal requirements, and do not have history of criminal behavior or disqualifying factors such as mental illness or history of domestic violence. It also is a segue to accountability with the law enforcement. Carrying this ID provides law enforcement officers with the means to quickly and easily identify people who should or should not have these firearms. It also prevents illegal possessions that turn to violent crimes, that turn to just a very negative outlook on our city. And I don't want to take up too much time, but I did just want to voice the concerns of myself, as well as a lot of other young professionals who are from Montgomery, who have left Montgomery, but who want to come back to Montgomery, but are just scared and concerned about the future of our city. So thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.
Hey, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Pruitt.
Let me make sure the folks that are speaking know where the city, and I don't want to speak for the mayor, but I think I know the mayor's heart on this. The city wants this ordinance. We are not in compliance with state law as we are today. We're trying to get into state law compliance by tweaking. The mayor, our chief back then, Derek Cunningham, they all went down there and talked to it. In my opinion, y'all are talking to the wrong people. Y'all need to be talking to the state legislators about changing the state law. We want it, but we've got to find something, because we have not enforced the law since we passed it, because we can't. So that's why we're trying to change it. I want y'all to know that everybody wants it, and the mayor wants it more than anybody. So I just want to share that with you guys.
Thank you, Mr. Pruitt. Mr. Williams.
Greetings, Council. My name is Richard Williams. I serve as the pastor of Metropolitan UMC, also the executive director of the Beacon Center. As you see the paper that is going across, it highlights our program called Next Steps. That was the last time that I encountered this space, discussing about not only gun violence, but the actual experience that we experience at the Beacon Center as we work to respond to violence. It is clear today that this board believes in oversight, and I hope that Councilman Pruitt, that we would be able to join voices together, because what we do know is that one group just can't provide oversight over contracts, but we also have to be able to provide oversight to things that could kill lives. Our city gun ID and ordinance was created to protect our community from the devastating rise in gun violence, a problem that is impacting not only Montgomery, but our entire state. It's clear that we need to have a conversation beyond this space, but if we don't start here, then when will we start? This ordinance is our strong and necessary response to Alabama's lenient gun laws, which allows for permitless carry and private firearm sales without background checks. These laws have left our neighborhoods vulnerable, making it clear that actions was needed at our local level. This council has responded with actions at our local level, and now others are listening. The purpose of our gun and ID requirement is straightforward. It's to enhance public safety, accountability, and responsible gun ownership. By requiring an ID, we ensure that only those who legally are eligible to carry a firearm can do so. Those who have cleared background checks don't pose a risk due to past criminal activity or mental health concerns. For our officers, this ordinance provides a crucial tool, allowing them to verify individuals' eligibility quickly, which reduces misunderstanding and improves community relations. This board believes in oversight. Why not give oversight to guns? This ordinance also helps to deter firearm-related crimes by adding an extra layer of accountability. Our goal is not to infringe on the lawful gun ownership, but to ensure that the community is safe as possible. In Montgomery, we believe in promoting responsible, lawful fire use, and this ordinance is key step toward a safer city for everyone. I'm sure this council did its research before it voted, and I believe sometimes when we make a stand, we have to not only stand with it, but we need to literally make sure that others can model our actions and model this council's boldness in oversight.
Thank you, Mr. Williams.
I'm Father Manuel Williams, and for the past 34 years, I've been servant leader at Resurrection Catholic Church and Mission Center in North Montgomery. And Councilman Pruitt, I am glad to hear that the city and all of you are in favor of an ordinance
100%.
to require. Then whatever needs to be done in the interim to reconcile what you have done with state law needs to be done. But in the interim, I want to speak against repealing it. There are 375 million Americans in this country. Only 72% of us do not own fire weapons, which means that we rely upon law enforcement and other mechanisms of government to keep us safe. My concern, if we were to repeal this, we will encourage and send a signal that illegal gun ownership, the restrictions that are helpful and have been put in place are no longer valid. You already know clearly that it's a deterrence against firearm crimes, it's a deterrence against not a deterrence for people with responsible gun ownership, but it also prevents illegal possession. I live about 150 yards from a house in my neighborhood I've spent 52 of my 67 years living and working in, where in the last 6 months we have had visits by the U.S. Federal Marshals, FBI, County Deputy, and Montgomery MPS for things from robbery to human trafficking. And those folks who live in that house, which had been the home of a retired Navy officer, all have weapons. They awakened me the other night with gunfire. And I'm not sure if they're firing it at each other or they're doing it in celebration. But it is transforming a traditional neighborhood into a place where people who have resided there for 50, 60 years are terrorized now to take walks at night or to sit on their porch. And so I would strongly urge you not to repeal until we can make whatever reconciliation there needs to be to happen, because it is not in our best interest to send any signal that continued illegal gun ownership in this city is something that we want to encourage. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Father Manuel.
Go again.
Father Manuel, Mr. Robert Wagstaff.
Good afternoon, council members, mayor. I am a Montgomery pastor, 15 years. I'm a member of the Good Shepherd program. I also have gone out to many scenes where accidents have happened with guns, where someone has been killed and a family has been devastated. This ordinance is a very proactive thing that you are doing for the citizens of Montgomery. I was there when it was being debated in the legislature. Those various entities from all over the state, law enforcement, came and spoke, asking the governor, please don't sign this. Please don't sign this. But she took the active to go ahead and sign it, which I thought was a very devastating thing. I worked with law enforcement in the Service Bureau for 41 years and 11 months. My job was to provide a service to make sure that they could do their duty in safety without being harmed. Whenever they got out of their vehicle and went up to a car, I had produced a service that told them whether that car was stolen, whether the individual in that car had a warrant on them, so that they could know how to react in approaching their car. So what am I trying to say by this? Listen, if we don't do this, then we are only doing what? Hampering ourselves, our city from growing in a positive manner where we can get individuals to come. Because people are afraid to come to an area where everybody has a gun and nobody has been trained how to use it. You can't operate a vehicle on the streets of Montgomery without first passing a written test, a driving test that you know, in a vehicle that's as dangerous as a gun,
when it comes to accident that could kill someone. So why is that being done? And yet still, you allow anyone to have a gun in their hand who don't know how to use it, have no training on safety or anything. This is very, very much a bad situation. And here's an opportunity that we can change it. We must do something. As a community, as this council, as the mayor, I charge you, stand still, don't move.
Thank you, Mr. Wagstaff.
Mr. President,
Mr. Pruitt?
can we hear from Aaron just real quick?
Yes.
Yeah,
Go
just
ahead.
briefly, it's an interesting ordinance, and you know, like we discussed, I have some concerns about the legality of it, stepping on state law, overstepping our boundaries. So I would just request to carry this matter over so that we can ensure the legality of it and do a little bit more research on it.
Well, Harry, you think we can have something in 2 weeks? Okay,
Highly likely.
okay,
All right. Thank you, Mr. Pruitt. Thank you, Alan.
thanks.
Carry over to the next meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. President,
Mr. Mitchell?
Ms. Blaylock, how many items we done, so our agenda is already full in 2 weeks, so.
Probably because of Rondé's called apartment complexes down.
All right. Item 12.
Item 11, resolution encouraging all supporting municipalities to adopt a resolution encouraging the Alabama legislature to adopt legislation supporting photo identification for concealed carry and providing penalties.
Mr. Pruitt?
Same thing, let's just wrap it in one. Yep,
You can vote for
Carry
it.
it over.
yep.
That's just a resolution. You don't want to vote it?
I mean, we can, we're gonna put the cart before the horse. Whatever he comes up with is what I want to see other municipalities. Carry
Gotcha.
over.
Lead the way.
Yeah,
All right. Thank you. Item 12.
You carried it over.
yeah, put the carryover in there with Miss Riley's stuff. We'll be all right.
Item 12, application for a towing company doing business as Clutch Roadside and Auto with no physical location.
All right. Representative for Clutch. Towing.
Do we have somebody here, Mr. President?
No one signed up for that item.
Okay.
Ms. Beard.
This has been carried over, this is the second time. This, if we carry it over again, will be the second time. So, Ms. Blaylock, are we not getting any communication with him? We've called him.
I've not received anything from him.
Let's just carry this one over to maybe.
Ms. Beard,
But-
I have a question. What
Yes,
are we
sir.
trying to do with item 12? Why we keep carrying it over? What's the deal?
Well,
Is it no physical location?
we have no physical location. He lives on Pepper Avenue. I went by there again today, so there's no truck. But he's not even showing up to get the business license and to ask and get all the proper documents. So when he comes here or sends a representative to do what he's supposed to do, then we'll sign on to it. But right now, it's not happening in District 2.
Yeah, deny.
Carried over, please, Ms. Blaylock.
Yes,
President.
ma'am.
Carry it over.
I mean,
Item 13.
hold on, Ms. Blaylock. Let's go back to this right here on item 12. But I think we had this conversation about no physical location. Mr. Mitchell had something about it. If it's going to be a president from the council, if you have no physical location for your business, then we need to put that in the business license, change the ordinance, so if you don't have a physical location, that you don't come before the council. Because, no physical location means, how do we contact you? How do we get in contact with you?
Right.
So, it's here.
Yes.
And we keep carrying over, he probably never gonna show up. That's like the other item.
Well, then we'll write, then, Mr. President,
Yes,
we'll work on a resolution to make those amendments to
Okay.
that, and then that should take care of that.
thank you.
Mr. President,
Mr. Mitchell?
can I get somebody from the business department to kind of explain
That would
what
be great.
the no physical,
Are we still carrying this one over? Council?
It's a consensus of the council, yes, ma'am, we are.
Hey there, no physical location means you can do like a tax service as long as you're delivering the forms to the taxpayer that they're doing it with. You can, as far as a towing service, we don't have anywhere in our ordinance that states that you have to have a physical location.
And that's my point. So we carried it over and still won't have a physical location because we don't have
You don't
it in
have
the
to
ordinance.
have one.
And it's
unless
just like
you write it
if
in the
you,
ordinance.
you can do business in Birmingham and you can come to Montgomery and tow a car.
Yes,
and you
you
don't have
can.
a physical location and a license here. So
That's correct.
But he would have a
this is
physical
like
location
this
in
is common sense
Birmingham.
type stuff to me. You know, you either pass it or you don't pass it and move on. So it's
Mr.
real.
President.
Hey, I'm not passing it then. I mean, you're just not passing
All
it.
right. So we got you got your answer.
Yes, yes,
So
sir.
it's been carried over, Ms. Blaylock, item 13.
Okay.
Item 13, application for a rental hall by Tanisha Bell doing business as ABJC 3836 Harrison Road.
All right, Ms.
She's
Bell.
She's requesting also a distance variance, and she's also requesting to change from a rental hall to a conference center because she's 2,200 square feet, which the new ordinance requires it be a conference center with that size.
All right, Mr. Szymanski. Hold on 1 second.
Hello? Go on and start.
All right, your name for the record, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Tanisha Bell.
Okay.
I come before you yet again to obtain a business license, and prayerfully today that will be able to be accomplished because I've been trying to do so since June 25th of this year, and that's almost 5 months.
All right.
Do we have a copy of the, is there a resolution that includes the
I have it right
substitution?
here if you need it.
That requires what?
Do we have the resolution that?
Now you can make a substitution from the floor.
The only question that I have, just to make sure, because one is, do conference centers now, will they have to come before us to get licenses?
It doesn't say it in the ordinance.
I know, well, that's, yeah, no, I'm directing that more towards revenue. Because I've got the ordinance that got passed. I know we had talked about this a couple of times, and one of the concerns that I'd had was that we do a lot of focus on the rental hall side of this, but then the conference centers, it just says are defined as venues larger than 1,500 square feet and designed for conference or conferences, often consisting of a large hall as well as a number of smaller lecture rooms and other facilities. Conference centers may also host events similar to those held in rental halls. And this isn't about y'all, but just for us to kind of think about is that if we're qualifying anything over 1,500 square feet that's not either a lounge or a restaurant or something that's going to be a place where events are taking place, then are we saying that they don't fall into the same restrictions as the rental hall? I keep giving the example of the 1616 house, which is in my district, and I think that's 13,000 square feet, but it's not built to host like, well, I guess it could technically, but it's a wedding venue. But we would classify that as a conference center just because of its size.
That's what the legal did the definition of a conference center as.
I'm not, don't worry, just hold on. This is the point of clarity I'm trying to get at is either A, they're applying for a conference center, which I don't believe they need council approval for. They'll have a license, and if they'll be watched in the same way that any other conference center would be. So whatever the activities are that are defined in the conference center license will be what they're restricted to. But I'm just pointing out this doesn't flush that out very well.
Mr. President, I agree with Andrew, Mr. Szymanski. This should be purpose-driven, what they're doing, more than, we call it a conference center because it's over 2,000 square feet. But if they're having conferences, that's one thing. If it's an event center, then it needs to be in that bucket.
Well, right, and so...
But it's the same activities, right?
Well, so yeah, because I'm assuming, same activities, and we've talked. One of the issues that we have is that they're in the space, and there's, we can give a business license with restrictions on it. The neighbor next door to that, I think I said like 11 p.m. closing time until 6 o'clock at night. Requirements of having an ABC license as part of that as well. If they're asking for a conference center license, I'm asking what we can do is to put similar restrictions onto that license, or if we can't, then they can just get the license, correct?
You have to amend the ordinance.
Can I speak? I waited
Yes.
5 months for you to come up with the definition. We have it here.
Speaking to your mic, please.
I'm sorry. I waited 5 months for you to come up with the definition.
I've been out of business basically for 5 months. For you to come up with the definition, now you tell me the ordinance that I've waited for all this time is still, that
Well, I'm telling you that you might not have to be here because
I
you've
don't
changed.
mind
Well, you've
being
changed
here.
your.
I don't mind being here, I just want.
No, but I'm saying
correct.
you've changed. You're coming with a substitution and a change to what your license application is for.
And let that deal with the license and what we're going to vote.
Can I put a restriction on them if I want to say about the short closing time?
I mean, we'll have to put a restriction on, we have to change the ordinance.
All right. Well then, okay. Well, if we don't have to follow the same restrictions of the rental halls, then you know what I'm looking for in that area. I've got a lot of concerns from the neighbors over there, and I'm just saying. So I've asked the neighbor who got an event hall license that they close at 11 o'clock. We keep an eye on the property for the first 3 months, and if everything's going well, and I talked to the neighborhood association, we're not having any issues over there, then we can look at expanding that a little bit further. And also, one thing that is important with the event hall or rental halls that we're talking about, liquor licenses, a conference center doesn't have one. So no charging for alcohol, no ticketed alcoholic events, that type of thing. All right, Mr. President, I'm going to make a motion to adopt.
All right,
Okay,
the public hearing is being held.
you're approving her for a conference center?
It seems to be what is in front
Well,
of
the resolution before you says rental house, so you're gonna have to make a motion to adopt and then to
Yes,
amend
sir.
to a conference center.
Mr. President,
Go ahead,
Mr. Smansky,
Yeah,
does this mean there's no alcohol, beer,
No.
wine?
it does not.
No, there's no alcohol.
No, it doesn't restrict.
It doesn't.
It says it can have, they may also host similar events to those held in rental halls.
You got motions.
I got a motion.
And now you have a motion to substitute.
So, yeah, walk me
We
through.
need a motion to adopt and a motion to
All right.
amend.
We have a motion to substitute. All in favor?
No, we need a motion to
Motion to
adopt.
amend.
Motion to adopt.
Now I need a motion
To
to
amend.
amend to a conference.
Motion to amend to a conference.
Conference center.
Conference center.
Okay. Now you're voting on the motion to amend.
Voted on the motion to
a conference
amend. All in favor? Please raise your hand.
Yeah.
center. 5. I need 1,
You got me?
4. I got yours.
Okay.
I need
Yes,
Mr. Jenwright's, Mr. Grimes, and Ms. Riley's vote.
What we doing? What we doing?
Ms. Riley, I can't hear you.
We had a motion to adopt.
Okay, we've got 5 yeses.
Okay, so
I need
all
that.
opposes have the same right.
I need the noes.
Yeah, all opposes still have the same right. If you oppose, raise your hand.
1. Okay, now the abstained.
Amend this to a conference.
I need the abstentions, which I do not have. 2, 4, and 9.
Y'all making it so hard.
I'm good.
You have 2, 4, and 9 abstaining? Okay, but the motion to amend carries by 5 votes.
All right, now I need a motion to adopt.
As amended, yes, sir.
As amended. All in favor, please raise your hand.
Seven,
All right, opposers have the same.
2,
All right, good luck with your business.
Thank you, thank you.
Item 14, resolution repealing the legislation which created Montgomery City County Personnel Board and expressing council's intent to adopt an ordinance creating a city personnel board in accordance with Act 2024-337.
Okay, council, we done had this on the agenda for 3 months, 90 days. Any questions on it? We're gonna vote it up or down tonight, so.
No, sir, it was denied at one point, and then it was put back on mute last week.
Did we deny
Last
it?
council meeting, yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah, I did do that. All right. Mr. Reed, yeah, go ahead.
All right, so I think the last time this went up for a vote, there were some questions that the council had, and I think some of those questions to the administration were some things that need some clarification. I mentioned those when we brought it back up for consideration again. And that goes to just the makeup of the city council actually establishing the personnel board itself. Council member Szymanski had a question about what would that personnel board look like? And I guess there was an expectation that the city would create a template to what that would be, but as the House bill states, it is up to the city council to create the new personnel board for the city. So there was, at least the question kind of, I believe, was short-sighted in the fact that we did not have a conversation with the council to get any guidance of what the new personnel board would look like, so we could go back and help with that, because the House bill says that the city administration is to assist the city council in creating the new personnel board. As it stands also is, if we stay with this personnel board without any changes, there are appointments by entities that are not within the city. The county would still have an appointment, and also the circuit court would also have an appointment to the personnel board. So there will be at some point either a vote by that board to make an adjustment or not. This is an opportunity for the council to shape that personnel board in a manner in which they deem effective and necessary going forward, and being that body that mediates and also mitigates any personnel issues we have within the department or the HR department that the city is moving forward with. Also, there was a question about what would happen to employees as we move to a new merit system. Well, the law, the House bill says that those employees will be transferred and expected to be transferred to the new merit system without any penalty, outside of a few caveats that would include disciplinary actions that were already in motion, and or situations in which those positions would not be needed because they would be redundant for what the city was already doing. So I think those answers some of the council's questions. And as I said, as we went up and we made the vote, a lot of those questions were to be answered honestly by the council, not the administration itself. So the council should come together. If you want to understand what the personnel board would look like, it is incumbent by the House bill that was voted on, that said the council creates the new personnel board, not the city, not the mayor. The council does that. We had no guidance, no input to what that was to look like. Therefore, we didn't really have a good answer for you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Reed. Now, basically what I'm understanding, and I see the personnel board director is here at this time. If you would come up right now, Carmen, if you could, because my understanding is the county has already withdrawn from this board effective December the 31st. And I think what the council is going to set up, if we make the decision, we'll be taking over those employees, is setting up a grievance and a complaint board, someone where the employees can grieve, and that'll be set up based on what this House Bill 287 is saying, that what we'll be setting up. So
the way that the legislation was structured, it allowed for the city council to decide whether or not they wanted to remain under the jurisdiction of the current personnel board. So the decision that's being made now is whether or not the city is going to move forward and do without the personnel board as it is currently structured, or if they are going to create their own. Mm-hmm. And all of this was supposed to be done by December 1st. So you're supposed to have a personnel department created by December 1st, where they submit policies and procedures to the city council to adopt, to put in place before January 1st. I went to county commission meeting on yesterday, and in the words of the new county administrator, they are struggling to get that in place, and they have been working on it for several months now. Me and my staff have offered to assist them in the transition because that has not occurred or taken place yet. They are a third of the size of the city. And they have also engaged a consultant to assist them with this process. And with 3 times the number of employees that the city has, I think that you all would be hard pressed to accomplish that in 2 months. So, yes, the county did move forward with the legislation because they did not have the caveat in the bill where the county commission voted on it, as the city council has to vote on it in order for it to go in place. You would not have a need to create a personnel board unless the legislation goes into place. If the legislation does not go into place, then Act 2280 stays in place as it applies to the city.
Okay.
Mr. President, so this is my question, and or could be a statement or whatever. So according to this legislation, you know, the city council would create this board, i.e. that's our job, we create boards. But this board, so the county pulled out, that means their money is gone. This is my understanding, and I spoke with the administrator, and the county has pulled out. That means that the city, and Mr. Reed, can you confirm this or not?
Yes.
That means the city will also take on $1.8 million of responsibility out of our current budget that we just passed that isn't budgeted. Am I right?
True, and in that budget, we had budgeted for an HR department in anticipation of this bill being, after the bill had been passed, in anticipation of that, going forward with an HR department within the city. On top of that, we and this city council approved the organizational chart as of last year that created a HR department for the city of Montgomery. So we have been working since then to work with a consultant that will implement personnel policy and create personnel policy as we go through this process. Are we behind? Yes. Is it impossible that we have something stood up in the next 2 months? No, because we're already working with them, and to be honest, it's not dire. What we're trying to do is not recreate HR policy and procedures from N to 100. What we're doing is just taking the policies we already have in the employee handbook, also what's in the personnel board's rules and regulations, taking those, looking at those, putting them in a library, and then tweaking them to fit our HR department. So this is not a start from scratch endeavor. This is simply taking those policies, procedures, indexing them, and having a library. As it stands, and we've had this conversation over and over, the Montgomery City County Personnel Board, that staff, does not do full service human resources. So we're going to end up having to do that anyway. Essentially, so when it comes to paid benefits, when it comes to adjudication of positions and they do some of this, I won't say they don't, classification of positions, but it takes a long time. We are looking at that and making sure that the city can operate efficiently and effectively. The mayor hired me to do that. He asked me in my interview, and well, he told me, he didn't ask me, he told me my job was to make sure that this city was efficient and effective. And the way we're doing things now is not very efficient and is not very effective.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. So, Mr. President, I would ask council to consider, because that is us taking on a $1.8 million responsibility. And so I would ask if we can we pass this so we can move forward with that and let the day-to-day do their job. But as a council, we come together as council, a whole, Mr. President, or if it's in a committee, to put together what this board would look like. And how it would look in the future, as in, that is what it is stated in 618 that we do anyway. But however you deem that we do that to create this board, to make sure that this is an operation that we meet the guidelines that are presented from the state. And I think that it was some misunderstanding too, Mr. President. I got a couple of calls from some employees that thought that if this happens, they lose their job. And to clarify that they don't lose their job. No one is losing their job in this transition. It's just a transition on the operation and administration of how it's currently ran to what it'll be ran like in the future. But no one would lose a job.
Mr.
President.
President, may I
Hold
speak?
on one time.
Yeah, Mr. President.
Then I'll come back to you.
The last meeting when I was at, when we were talking about this and when it didn't pass, one of the main concerns that I had, and I'd had a lengthy conversation with the legal department, so I just want to be, I don't know if anything's changed, but one of the things that we were told is that, or I was told, is that we rely on an independent personnel department in cases where appeals are made about the status of somebody's employment with the city. I was told that this protects the city in those situations, and it kind of gives that verification that that we have gone through our due diligence and that it was verified by somebody else. Right now, currently, as it was told to me, the board doesn't answer to the city when they make these decisions, and so.
This board would not answer to the mayor, the administration. It would answer to the board appointed by the council.
Understood.
So you would have the same thing. So
Right.
as it stands, we make appointments to the personnel board. The county does. The circuit court judge does. So let's not muddy the water here. That body that you would create as the council would do just that. So everything you're saying is we're not getting rid of a personnel board. We are establishing a city of Montgomery personnel board.
I know, I understand that, and that's why I was asking the attorney for that clarification, because when I had the conversation, it was told to me that it needed to stay this way so that we would have an independent personnel board in these situations. And I'm asking if anything about that has changed in that, and if this structure that's being proposed still keeps the city in a good position should we go into that kind of court arbitration or anything along those lines.
Let me speak to that. One is the city attorney is not here. We've had 3 years to discuss this. 3 years. The young lady just said she was waiting on an issue for 5 months. This isn't a new circumstance. I understand somebody's arguing for their job and their relevance. I understand that part. The point here is we went through this with the previous council as well as this council, and it was passed by the legislature. I think we're making a very simple matter much more complicated than it needs to be. And the goal here has been from day one is to eliminate the lawsuits, is to eliminate the legal costs, and to eliminate the inefficiencies brought on in part by an archaic system that was created in 1975. Not a whole lot of us are still using things the same way that we used in 1975. We don't drive the same type of car, we don't use the same type of phone. But for some reason, the government, there's a hard charge of why to change, but yet people want the results. So the goal wasn't looking at this, was cities that were able to hire as well as fire people and deal with complaints being much more able and apt to do so with an HR department, of which we did not have. HR meaning human resources, sorry for the acronym, meaning human resources. So even when we think about some of the things that we see a lot of with internal investigations and those that may be even coming from various departments, the goal is to have a much more structured organization that deals with these issues that we see every day in the city of Montgomery so that we can better serve the residents of the city and the taxpayers. So the personnel department, the county and the city came to this joint decision, again, 3 years ago. So it was brought up and then finally passed over the last 3 years in this recent session. My thought is very simply this. When you're asking and I'm gonna say I think that Stacy should be the one to answer this. We've had 3 months to answer, we had again 3 years to answer. So the last 90 days, I think it's been very clear about what the HR department would do, what a personnel board would do, and what abolishing the city-county personnel board does. It does not mean that anyone loses their job, as has been stated here. It means that those who even working at the personnel department would have the opportunity to come to work in the human resources department, should they desire. So all of those things of this was not about any person or any persons losing their job. It's about the city. And I think too often when we make decisions, we kick the can down the road for weeks and months and years because no one wants to make the hard decisions that the community has said, well, we want things to change. Well, if you want things to change, then you have to change them. You can't get the results without changing those things. So the goal in this of having an HR department is so that the directors, so that department heads and supervisors have a better understanding from day to day how to manage their employees that has grown, that has changed as the workplace has changed. It's not what it was in 1975. It's a lot different in 2025, which is what we're about to go get into. So the purpose here is not to complicate the simple. The county pulled out for a reason, and I think the county was very clear in why they pulled out. It was created as a city-county personnel board. So for us to still say, well, we want to, we're considering the $1.8 million expense that we didn't budget along with the HR department, to me, it does not quite add up if the goal is to bring about more effective results for our supervisors, directors, department heads, and others who are dealing with the day-to-day management of people, as well as their roles and responsibilities to carry out the business of the city. That's really all this is. For the personnel board, the city council, again, will have I was about to say the chance, but really it's the obligation of the city council to then decide how that looks and what that looks like. But I don't think that what we're discussing here for now the third month is really what the legislation was initially discussed with the previous council 3 years ago and this council over the last year gets us to. That's my point.
Well, and I actually agree that we do need to staff up the HR department. I voted in favor of us having the HR department, the housing department as well. I think my concern and the recommendation that I was hearing was that we do this and that after we have the HR department established, spun up, and when we have the recommendations by the consultant firm about how we're going to move this thing forward, we do that then. There was also some concern about the timeline of this that was presented and some pretty strong words about why this was not the right time to do that. So I just wanted to point out that the reservations are not,
So
that moving into a more efficient way is where we should go, because we definitely should, which is I think why the HR department is a really important thing that we did and should get spun up. And then I think we evaluate the relationship with the personnel board.
So, and just to be sure, and what we stated earlier was, we need to bifurcate the two. HR department does not equal personnel board. That's the issue we have here. Now, personnel board equals HR department. What we're doing is we're bifurcating those functions. So essentially, the new city personnel board would be the appeals board. That would be the governance or the appellate governance of our HR department, our policies and procedures. So let's bifurcate. One doesn't drive the other. One is established to make sure that there's oversight of the other. As we talked about earlier today about oversight, that's exactly what that personnel board would do for you, but not in the lane of doing personnel and HR functions at the same time as it stands today. And that's the issue we have. So it's actually getting exactly to the things that you're talking about, that we don't have the HR functions being executed by the personnel board.
Okay.
May I speak
Thank you,
now,
Ms. Reed.
Mr.
All right, I'm gonna let you
President?
speak and then I'm gonna close it out, Ms.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
First, I would love to have had a $1.8 million budget. The budget for the personnel board is not $1.8 million, and since I've been personnel director, it has never been $1.8 million. Currently, the city provides for 80% of the budget for the personnel board.
And the remaining, this is all of it.
Yeah.
Because the county pulled out, so we would take the whole responsibility,
Yes,
not just
ma'am.
the city half.
Yes, ma'am. And the budget has never been 1.8 million total to include the city and the county functions. The county only paid 20% of the budget. Due to us having to service fewer people, we've had some attrition due to all of this uncertainty. I do not plan to fill behind some of those positions, so I have cut the budget to that 80%, and you will not be paying any more than what you've already paid. Last year, it ended up only being about $900,000 based on the numbers I received from the budget. So I don't know where the $1.8 million is coming from,
I have advocated for the city to hire an HR department for years. It is very similar to the structure of Jefferson County Personnel Board, Mobile County Personnel Board. They all have HR people who support their jurisdictions separately.
So what is, can I ask, what is the?
Because it's very specific in what the services that are provided by the Personnel Board by statute. I have tried to offer for us to work together to make changes to the statute, because I would love to make some changes to the statute to make things work a little better. But that has not happened. And I want to make one more just real clear point, and I want you all to understand this. Many years of my career, I'm about 50-50 in what I've worked in the private sector and the public sector. The public sector is very different. You have a property right in your job when you work for the public sector. A lot of the times in the public sector when you work, there are elected officials involved. The main reason that this whole merit classified service system was set up was to do away with what is called the spoil system. And that is hiring people or firing people because of political affiliations. These boards and groups like the Office for Personnel Management with the federal government were put in place to give everybody an equal opportunity for employment if they chose to work in the public sector. It was to give them due process rights involving their jobs. It was to give them protections concerning their pay. That is the reason why the board is separate from the entities that they support and provide services to. That is the whole purpose of it, is to grant people those opportunities. I have also provided you all with information about our timely processing of paperwork that we receive. And if you look through those documents, you will see that our office is not the one that's holding up the process. So I want to make that clear. We are here to work, we are here to serve. And one last comment was made about us fighting for our jobs. Everybody wants to have employment. And I thank God I have never had to chase after a job. So this isn't about me. This is about the job that I have and what it does and what it stands for. I take my responsibility very seriously, and it's here to provide a service. And we grant people with an equal opportunity to have that chance to work in the public sector if they choose to do so. And it provides them with job protection and due process. I just want you to follow the processes and follow the procedures. I don't tell you who you can hire and who you can't fire, but I want you to follow the process and give people due process and an equal opportunity.
All right, thank you. Mr. Jim,
Let me just say this about that. This is a huge issue for the city of Montgomery. It's a huge issue for our employees. And we've not talked about this except when we get down to time to vote. We don't even bring it up in the work session. We need to go one more week on this, 2 weeks on this, carry this thing over, and talk about it in a time that we can spend proper time and not be forced into a vote like we are this afternoon. Every time this thing comes up, we got to vote right now. We're not ready to vote. We don't know all the story. So I think we need some more information, stuff that will not be confusing, because the stuff that's gone on in the last 30 minutes now, it just confuses people more about who's what. And so I think we need to sit back and look and carry this thing over 2 weeks and decide what we're going to do with it. But
So
we need, in that 2 weeks, we need to spend some time deciding exactly what we're going to do and let our employees know what we're going to do.
Mr. President, I
had enough on this conversation right here. Ms. Blaylock, I want to set a council-on-council committee on this issue for, well, today is Tuesday, we can give you 7 days out. So before our next meeting, just come up with a day, either that Wednesday or Thursday.
Next Wednesday?
Next Wednesday will be fine.
Wednesday, what time, Mr. President?
4 o'clock.
4 p.m. Council as a committee regarding this item.
And we'll discuss this and we'll vote this up or down, because, you know, we got mixed emotions or mixed issues on this issue as we go forward. So we'll come, and I want everybody to make sure you come to that meeting. So if you don't show up to the meeting, don't come 2 weeks from now and have 200 questions.
Yeah.
Thank you.
and knowing that you're supposed to create boards. I think that's the huge confusion.
All right, we're moving on. Item number 15.
I know they're supposed to create boards.
New business. Item 15.
Thank God for new business.
Review of the range 231, 3250 Wetumpka Highway.
All right. Ms. Beard?
Yes, sir.
On the public communication on item 15, we have Joanna Smith and Robert, I guess it's Scarface, and Brian Ainsworth. And Mark Shaw. If you guys could just approach the podium.
I know Mark, but I don't know these guys. Hi.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
All right, sir. You have 3 minutes. What's your name for the record? Who's going to speak first?
Well, I am Joanna Smith.
Okay.
I'm with Ralph Smith Motors, 3130 Wetumpka Highway. We have been serving the Montgomery area since 1942. I've never had the opportunity to visit Range. There seems to have been some kind of a massive evolution here in the last year or so with their business. I don't know what's caused it. All I know that is just obvious. They themselves say that they are a redneck Top Golf on Facebook, but the events that they've been having recently are anything but. Recently there was a young man who was shot and killed right outside. Now, when Mr. Smith spoke with, I think the guy's name was Chris, I don't know, he's inside Range 231. He said that he wished he had handled that situation better, that sometimes his crowds get out of control, and that if he could have just stopped them when they were arguing inside, maybe things wouldn't have occurred the way that they did. That gentleman stated that if the car had just gone right out of the parking lot instead of left, maybe things would have been okay. We had employees that were going to our car lot that evening, well, that morning about 4 a.m., and were nearly run off the road by a Corvette that was speeding out of the parking lot. I now know that it had a dead man in it that had just been killed. This originally started as a nuisance with trash everywhere, alcohol bottles everywhere, people parking all over our grass, which has very expensive utilities that go up underneath it, water specifically, that we're responsible for if it gets damaged. Now our neighbors have had to hire overnight security on the weekends. We've all had to purchase things to keep people off of our property, because after the club closes, which I'm not really sure that it actually does, there becomes a street party up and down Highway 231 that is in at least 6 businesses' driveways, their parking lots. And frankly, when my customers show up and have crime scene tape and 10 sheriff's cars, they're not coming to buy a car on Saturday, which is what we're hoping to be doing on Saturdays. And we don't want anyone else to get hurt. We don't want our properties damaged. We are gonna start towing cars off that do not belong on our property, and that's gonna make the patrons angry, and we don't want retaliation. So we don't really know what to even ask for. We went to the county commission. Sheriff Cunningham said he didn't want the business, he didn't authorize the liquor license, and that we were talking to the wrong people, but we didn't know who to talk to because we've never seen NPD there. We've only seen the sheriff's department. I just beg of y'all to reconsider whatever has changed and help us.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Smith.
You got her name, right, Mr. Lillard?
Yes, that's Joanne Smith.
All right, since I have so many, I don't know who's who. You just step up and give me your name, sir, and I'll check you up.
I'm Mark Shaw. I'm with Shaw's Garden Center and Landscaping. I'm right across the road from Range 231. What I'm here today, I just want to speak about my business. And I know that since the Martins has gave up that place over there and the new owners has moved in, it's done nothing but hurt my business. September 27th, there was a shooting. Person was killed. October the 4th, the patrons from their bar was drunk, got on my property, tore up my property.
October the 5th and 6th, they were blocking my driveway. The smell of marijuana is so bad in that place that you just cannot walk out into my parking lot at nighttime. Thursday, October the 31st, they were street racing again, so it's ongoing. What she was saying about Sheriff Cunningham, he told us when we went to the county commissioners meeting that this was y'all's problem, y'all created it, y'all gave them the liquor license, and y'all need to clean it up. That they was washing their hands of it. We're asking for help. I'll just be honest with you. 43 times we've called for law enforcement at my place. Never time has the city of Montgomery showed up. 27 times have we called them for break-ins. Never seen the city of Montgomery. 19 times we called for ambulances due to wrecks. Never got anything but volunteers in Payne's ambulance. 19 times we called for fire service. Of those 19 times for vehicle accidents, 3 of them was for fire. We've always had to wait on volunteers. We've never got anything out there from the city of Montgomery. The way I look at it is the city of Montgomery, I pay a tax to get this stuff afforded to me, and it has not happened. I don't know why, but the sheriff's department has washed their hands of it, so now it's on y'all. The way I look at it is for 17 years I've paid taxes. I think y'all owe me back $55,000. That's what I've paid y'all. But I have not got any services. That's the way I look at it. We just need y'all to come out there and clean it up. I know these gentlemen are going to say otherwise, but I know it's hurting my business. We've already had one to close and leave, the woodworking place down the road. They gave up. I just need y'all to help. I'm tired of people peeing on my lawn. And that's what they do. I got pictures. They pee on my lawn. So if y'all could help me, my hat's in my hand. I thank y'all for giving me your time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, you guys are the owners of. Come on up to the mic.
Brian Ainsworth is my name.
What is your name again, sir?
Brian Ainsworth,
And Brian, you're the owner?
one of the owners, yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. And your other friend here?
Robert Scarface.
Speak into your mic.
I'm sorry. It's been a long
Robert
day.
Scarface.
And you are also an owner,
Also
Mr.
an
Rob, Mr. Scarpace?
Scarpacci. That's how you really say it.
Okay, all right. All right, well, I've done a lot of research on this, and it was brought to my attention several weeks ago. And in my packet here, I have just looked at it, and, for the health and safety and welfare of everybody who's surrounding you, your businesses, the patrons, and just the citizens of Montgomery traveling back and forth on the highway right in front of you, we've got some issues here. What are your business hours? It varies, right?
We open at noon, I believe. We're closed on Mondays. We open at noon. The driving range, the golf range is open.
I'm talking about your night activities.
2 a.m. is when we quit serving.
Why are you advertising to 4 a.m.? Yes, you are. I've got it
Friday
on Facebook.
nights.
Nah, you're not playing golf at 4 o'clock in the morning. We've got too many things right here. I have a list right here of 154 calls that the sheriff's department has come out to your business. 50 of those calls are from January of this year. And you have some security issues too.
25 of those calls is business alarm.
Right, business alarm. So that's why I'm going to say
25 of them.
business alarms, right? And so that's why I'm going to suggest that do you have cameras? I guess you do. All right, are you hooked up to Starwatch? Are you hooked up to Starwatch? No. Okay, well, I need both of y'all to take one of these, and I need you to handle that so you can make sure, and we need to make sure that because every time that, correct me if I'm wrong, Chief, over here. Chief Gray Boys, are you over there? Correct me if I'm wrong. Every time that alarm goes off, I think it's after the third time they're charged if you have to go out and visit that establishment. Is that correct?
It's the same thing as a franchise.
Sir?
license.
I can't hear him.
Come on up, Wayne.
I can't hear you. The issue we have here is that the Sheriff Cunningham, when I spoke with him, suggested that your establishment not get an ABC license, okay? And so I've inherited this. And so right now we're just not having good business practices. I know you've caught up on some business things that you had to, and I appreciate that. But you're staying open to 3:30, 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, because a lot of these, since 2000 and what is this, 23, a lot of those are at 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning. And I have one young man that's lost his life. And I have another young man, I think you were bouncing somebody in the ball and whatever, like things like that, and he got hurt or whatever. It's just not good business practice right now. So what I want to do, Chief, can you answer that for me? When they have an alarm that comes on and you have to go out there, or whomever goes out there, after a third time, I think
Yes,
that's
ma'am.
what it is?
After excessive, after we have to answer it once, then charges start applying and accruing when you're having to do excessive answers to false alarms.
Okay. And what I understand now is Montgomery Police Department is taking over answering the calls out here, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, who is your security? Who's your security guards? Who are they?
We've had multiple
Okay, I
different
need you to
security
get
officers
one, and I
on
would
these.
like for you to hire, if possible, an off-duty sheriff to be out there.
We tried.
No, they won't. They won't do it.
Okay. Well, how?
They said they do not do that anymore.
Okay. Well, I need to know who you're hiring for your security. At this point in time right now, I'm giving you 30 days. We're giving you 30 days. And in 30 days, I'm going to call you back for a show cause hearing. And now those 30 days, between now and 30 days, you're going to shut down at 11 o'clock every night, Sunday through Sunday. I've got too many things going on in District 2. I'm not losing any more lives in District 2. You're in the PJ, but my families that live in Madison Park hear your noise all the time. And that is not acceptable. And you two you understand business. And I know you want to have your golf business and all that. Hey, my son's a golfer. I understand golf, okay? I know that's a great business for you. But the after-hours parties to 3:30 and 4:30 and 5 o'clock in the morning, nothing happens any good after 12 o'clock at midnight. Everybody's parents told you that when you were growing up. So right now, from now and 30 days, which will be the 3rd, I believe, of December, we're going to close our doors at 11 o'clock, and that means everybody's out of the parking lot and going home to night-night.
Point of order, Ms. Beard.
Ma'am?
At the next meeting, after 30 days, you can adopt a resolution to set a show cause hearing.
Okay, well, that'd be fine.
Because we have to give a specific amount of time on that by our city code.
Well, then we'll move it for 2 weeks. Can we do that to our next November meeting?
What are you giving him
Gonna
2
just-
weeks
2
to do
weeks
what?
to clean up
Let's call it.
for the show calls in 2 weeks?
To come back with provision or show you that they've done the things that you needed?
And then we'll see what happens from there.
You want to do it in 2 weeks or rather than 30 days?
2 weeks. I mean, the precedent been set on show calls is 30 days.
Well, that's what I was telling her. She
Okay,
can't.
well, then we'll go 30 days. Thanks, Mr. President. We'll go back to I think I wrote it down, December the what, Ms. Blaylock?
December the 3rd is
Correct.
that council meeting, and at that meeting, if they have not complied, then you can set we'll have a resolution that would set a show cause hearing.
And-
2 meetings past that one, because we have to skip a meeting in order to give them.
Okay. And also, I believe on December the 3rd, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we have an early meeting that day as well, correct?
That's correct.
Yes, that means it's a 1 o'clock business.
I don't remember if it's one, just a second.
Yeah. I think
It's
we've
2
moved-
and 3.
It's 2 and 3, so
Yes,
it's a
ma'am.
different
Work
time.
sessions at 2, council
Yes, sir.
meetings at 3.
Yes, sir. I have businesses around you that are good established businesses that have been there for a long period of time. And I know you want to be good business owners and good partners in the community. Right now, that's just not happening. So at this point in time, for the next 30 days, we're closing at 11. MPD will be checking for me. And so that's where I stand right now.
And to bring you proof of their security.
Yes, I need to see who's on your security team. And they need to be security guards in uniform, that type of thing. Yes, sir.
Mr. President, I got one question for these guys.
Mr. Grimes?
I'm in District 1 and I get worn out with the calls, not like she does, but I do too.
I'm worn out.
And when you're out of control like that, you put a strain on not the police department, will be now the sheriff's department. I mean, I've talked with Cunningham and Wesley Richardson, and they think we're out of our minds for letting you be out there. So I'm telling you, you got to get better, or you ain't going to get any love up here.
All right. Anything else?
No.
All right, thank you, guy.
Thank you. We'll see you in 30 days.
Carried over to December the 3rd. Item 16, review of Sage Event Center, 547 Northeastern Boulevard. This is actually moot at this point because they've turned in their liquor license.
Okay,
They've
pass it.
filed an application to close their finance accounts by November the 21st.
And we're passing a letter down as well, Ms. Blaylock.
Is finance going to send one? Or,
I have the letter that her lease is not being renewed. That's what we just passed down.
yeah, but she's filed an application with them to
Miss-
close their finance accounts.
Can y'all help me out on that,
So
Reverend?
that shuts them down.
Yes, I saw something in our notes that she had indicated that she was closing the business. In fact, I believe it was after yesterday.
You're the owner of the business, ma'am?
No.
No. You want to speak to the council on this item?
Mr. President,
It's mute, so we don't have any action, so we can move on.
Mr. President,
Mr. Mitchell?
so I want to make sure that we are clear. You're saying that she has to tell me what she's doing again?
We have notes that she has indicated that she has closed the business.
And her
But-
ABC license has been turned in.
Yes.
But her ABC being turned in don't mean that she still have a current business license as of today, correct?
She indicated that she closed it, so.
No, no.
Have we received the surrender?
No, that's not, I'm
We have
asking.
not received a surrendered license.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So she still have a current, so she could open today, tomorrow. Explain to me why not?
Because of the owner of the shopping center.
But the owner would have to evict her, so if she don't leave, the owner would have to evict her, correct?
She sent her a letter.
Yeah, but
She has a letter that
yeah, but the owner would
has
still,
sent.
the owner would still have to evict her if she has broken her lease, if she's renting from her. I just want to make sure that we are actually going after her license instead of waiting to make sure that she's going to turn her license in or she's going to automatically leave that space, because we did that same thing with the Velvet Room, and they did not leave when they were supposed to leave, and they had to get sued and do everything else. So I just want to make sure that we're not relying on her turning in her business license, or we waiting on her saying that she has not re-signed or the owner will not re-sign the lease. I just want to make sure
Her
that we.
account has been closed.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. What's your name for the record?
Your
You
account has
speaking
been
on
closed.
behalf of the Sage Lounge?
Not on behalf, that was my son. My name is Veronica Bell, and my son was one of the victims. And the young lady, Alondra Woods is her name, she came to my house that Friday morning, and she stated she was gonna give the cameras and everything to the detectives. And at this point, she's keep refusing to give her footage at her facility, and I'm requesting for immediately close her down because her 2 lives was taken for no reason.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right.
And ma'am, I'm sorry
Thank you.
that happened to you. That's tragic. As a mother's heart, I think we can all say that
It's
our
horrible.
sympathies. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Right.
Can I ask for clarification? Because finance sent me a copy of where Sage owner filed an application to close her financial accounts with the city of Montgomery. How does that affect her business license? They're closed. I mean, the business license is no good anymore.
Okay. So it's been revoked, I guess. That's my understanding.
That was my point first, that they filed an application to close their financial accounts with the city of Montgomery.
So I guess the question would be, when will we act on the application that they're filed to say the license is revoked, to get that back to the owner so they know they're closed?
Well, I think that's happened, but I'm not 100%. It happened this afternoon, if I'm not mistaken.
Just shoot an email to Ms.
Shoot an
Blaylock and
email?
let us know where we're at.
I will do that, Brenda.
All right.
Okay.
I take that back. Don't shoot it, send it. Yeah, send an email. Thank you.
That work?
Mr. President, I got a question.
Mr. Grimes?
Do we put a mark, so when we pull these business licenses, do we put a mark in case she goes to my district, Miss Riley's district out there?
I think anytime they come back before the council with a liquor license, it has to come back before the council for approval.
Okay,
So,
okay.
yeah. Thank you, Ms. Bell. Thank you.
But when the council does shut it down, they are supposed to be red flagging that individual and that location.
Right.
But
So
Mr.
that when anything that affects that new should be red flagged to the council.
But Mr. President, I guess that's my question. We are not actually shutting them down, correct? They are voluntarily turning in a license, so that's my point. Since we are not actually shutting them down, would they be red flagged?
You can give an instruction to the business license to red flag it.
Ms. Brown, I want that count red flag, please, since it's my district.
That has to come from the administration. That can't come from the council. All right, we good. We moving on tonight, M18. What you got?
Our system does not flag it. We got no way. We're moving to a new system, but we're not there yet.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
That's interesting.
Item 18.
Item 17,
All right.
review of Metro Petro, 2905 Lower Wetumpka Road.
That been withdrawn?
No.
Oh, I thought, what did you withdraw? Oh, the appointments. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President. Jack, hey, thank you for coming.
I need his name, please, ma'am.
Oh, go ahead.
What's your name, please? For
Your name for the record, sir.
Jack Patel.
Jack Patel.
Okay, Jack, I've received several calls and concerns about the Metro Petro on Lower Wetumpka and Coliseum, but specifically Lower Wetumpka Road. As I'm doing cleanup in the area, and we had this conversation already on what was expected to happen when you were given the business license. Another was rejected because they weren't in accordance with the community, because so much crime is happening in North Montgomery every day, every single day. And what happens in your new location, yes, you made it look good, but on the inside, it's things that contribute to the crime that's happening in the area. And our agreement was with yourself, myself, and the neighborhood that surrounds it was that it would be food for the residents and it would be more of a mini grocery. But what it is almost a gambling hall. Like, we got gaming machines, slushies, and tobacco and alcoholic beverages, which wasn't the agreement. So can you tell me what has happened now?
Okay, first thing that we trying to open the food thing, but some reason I can't, because if the food business or any meat thing, if we have to open up, like we need a category 2 license from the food department, which is we just got it. Like last week we got it. So some food business I can, but now I'm start to processing. In the meanwhile, I have a chance to buy to the next building next to the Pizza Hut building, which is the closed down building.
Used to be Checkers.
Checkers, and we bought those building $800,000 and completely the renovation and putting the American Deli to start the food and morning breakfast and everything. So it's totally making the new business up there, so that way the neighborhood can get the food and breakfast and lot of other stuff. And the same time, I'm doing at the Lower Wetumpka Road. Now I have the category 2 license, so I'm trying to put the pizzas program, Peak 5 program, because before I can't, the reason I don't have category 2 license. But if you give me a little chance, I definitely do it.
I know we spoke, what has it been, 3 weeks? 3 weeks ago we spoke, and it was supposed to be some changes. And what I don't want is the idea that someone can come into our community and open up places of business like this and overstep and just come in and bring this kind of business in our area. Like, we already are not invested in. And the investment that you did as far as the facade of the building was good, but the other pieces of the investment is not really investing in the community. It's taken away from the community, right? So we got guys that's outside, they might come use your gambling machine and then go outside and shoot dice. And it's so many things that can happen from that in a scenario that has happened on other sides of town already, which we don't want to see. We want to clean the area up.
Yes,
and
sir.
so what I don't want to do is say, yeah, Jack, you get 45 days to clean this up. Now somebody else come open up a business and say, well, you gave Jack 45 days to clean it up. You didn't care what he did in your community. Why do you care what I do in your community? And the community cares. And so that's why we're here today, so you can understand. You've been open like 2 months?
Right.
And
no,
so
1 month.
1 month?
1 month.
So before you opened your doors, you should have waited until you got your food, because that's what you promised to the community. And that's what, so as a business person coming into a community, you want to build that relationship. Now there's some distrust. And I don't believe a word that you would say, and they won't believe a word that you say, because you opened it up without fulfilling the promise that you gave to the community. And I, for one, that's not what business I'm in. I'm in business to make sure that I advocate for my community members.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And you want to get money from my community members. That's how you're going to keep your doors open. So you want to make sure that you're doing exactly what you told them that you would do. So you should have waited to open your door. So I would ask that you close your doors until the food is put in there. And I'm glad you purchased that building at Checkers, because we need some more food over there. So that's a good thing. But until you have done everything that you said you're going to do, close the doors and get your food in there and then open it back up.
I mean, you're talking about the Lower Batunga Road?
The Lower Wetumpka Road.
But the food, actually, we want to just start because now we got the category 2 license. If we close the business right now, we need to start the whole entire process again.
Why would you have to start it all over? If you've already got your license, just put your food in there. Don't open it for somebody to come in there and gamble and get that money, and you haven't put the food in there for somebody that doesn't have milk in their house to come get milk, is what I'm saying.
No, we got the milk and the plenty product, ma'am. You know, I mean, which is, I already sent you the pictures over here, and you can see my food permit when actually they approve, you know, see that one? That one?
Go back. Go back. So that was the gaming machine.
No, this is the vending machine. This is not a gambling machine, actually.
A vending machine? What kind of vending are they doing?
Vending machine, the people come over there, they spend the money up there, but they win the points. And when should they win the point, I'll give it to him the food against for that.
So this is in there now?
Yeah, this is for that, you know what I mean? So
if I stop by to get me some okra so I can make some fried okra, I can get it today?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we just approved, look at it, you know what I mean, like the 3 days before we approved the license, like 10:30. So now I'm trying to start the whole process for the new food program.
Okay.
Which is a promise to you, you know, I mean, I'm trying to put the food program over there and everything. And right now the very next door, the complex is trying to close down. So we already trying to negotiate with them to buy that very next door, the complex, entire thing, and putting something new over there in that area, you know, just trying to think very next door.
And before you, so we've already had our conversation. You know what you need to do. Okay. Can I have business license come and explain what he needs to do moving forward with those gaming machines and his license? So you are in accordance with the new ordinance of the city of Montgomery.
Right, you were asking about the gaming machines?
Yes.
Okay. With the new ordinance that the council did, starting with 2025 license, those gaming machines, $750 a piece.
And that's on Coliseum and Lower
Yeah, that's fine, no problem. We can pay, you know what I mean?
Okay. And as far as his business license with operating and having the slushy machine and the game, is there a difference or a change in business license that he has to make?
No, slushy machine, I think.
Have you brought the food permit to us?
Yes, I got the category 2 license right now.
Okay, because we need a copy of it now.
Under the category 2 license, we can sell the slushy, because before we cannot sell the slushy, the reason why I have the category 1 license. Under the category 1, we can, but category 2, I can't do it. So now I can, you know, legally I can.
Ms. Johnson, is he done? Is all he's got to do is get with the business license?
Hey. And then make sure there's no alcohol, because you got beer and wine. No liquor license.
It's cocktail, they can only have
cocktail.
wine in it.
No, cocktail, actually that's not a liquor, that's the under the wine, yes.
So it's wine in there?
Yeah, that's the wine, that's not a liquor.
Okay.
Well, no, but alcohol is, some stores have the alcohol.
Hey, I tell you what, if y'all are done, why don't y'all 2, 3 go on the side, make sure he's straight, and let's go to the next one. How about that?
That's good?
Works for me.
Atta boy. All right, good job. Here we go.
You just go talk to them.
Sure.
No further action needed?
No, I'll review them in about 30 days.
Review it on December the 3rd.
Yes, ma'am.
Item number 18, ordinance granting a license to Groom Transportation of Alabama to operate, pick up, or drop off patrons or clients at the Intermodal Transfer Center at 495 Moulton Street.
Move to suspend the rules.
Got a motion to suspend rules, all in favor?
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
Motion to adopt, all in favor?
Unanimous.
All
Resolution.
right, here we go.
Ordinance is adopted. Wait a minute, who am I? Mr. Calhoun. That's what I'm missing. I was doing body counts.
Come on, Miss Blaylock, keep up, let's go.
This one will carry over.
Y'all are like herding
wanna carry
cows
over
and
this
cats sometimes.
I know it.
Item 19, public hearing on the proposed ordinance to modify the district plan of the City of Montgomery Tourism Improvement District.
I think we wanted to carry this over and
We gotta hold the public hearing. So we can carry the resolutions
CC
over.
said I think CC
Public
said that
hearing.
we wanted to pass and then amend it after the fact if we needed to. But he's not here, I don't know. I just asked him, and he said,
it's a chamber, isn't it?
I think the mayor's intent was to carry it over Yes. and then have a discussion.
All right,
It was, but you have to hold a public hearing
Right, public
today
hearing.
because that was sent
Maybe
out.
public hearing.
go ahead.
For or against the
Got a public hearing, anybody for or against, please come forward. Seeing none, I declare the public hearing been held, brought before the council.
Okay, and you want ordinance 20 carried over to the next meeting?
That is correct.
You want item 21 carried over to the next meeting?
That is correct.
Item 22, resolution extending the moratorium on automated car washes for an additional 6 months.
Councilor Grimes.
Yeah, I'd like to extend this for 6 months. We need to meet on it in the next month or so to I realize it's a busy time of year to talk about it.
Why would you, I mean, it's restricting free enterprise. I mean,
Yeah, but you got a
If the guy's gonna
specialized
invest
property,
some
when
money,
they
you
go
better
bad, Charlie, I get it, I got 7 in a 5-mile strip.
I understand. I understand. They all got big investments too. So,
Yeah,
All right.
we'll talk about that in a minute, but
go
yeah.
ahead.
What number?
We're on number 22. We don't have a motion yet.
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
8,
That's it.
We got 9.
Mr. Mitchell votes no.
Yeah, we're gonna carry this over.
Jesus.
Hand over.
Mr. Pruitt, get ready for the next meeting. You got all these carryovers.
Item 23, show cause hearing on the proposed revocation of the business license of Club G's, 1187 West South Boulevard.
All right. Owners of Club G's, please come forward. Your name for the record, sir?
Tim Broughton.
Tim, what?
Broughton.
Thank you.
All right. Miss Riley?
Good evening, Tim. Let's just go over some things and let's get some protocols in order. And then, I just want to ask some questions. I'm all for small business. I'm not trying to close anybody down, but we just need to get some understanding on some things. First of all, I know you've had some incidents that have occurred again. And I want you to talk to me about your security, because we talked about this once before about your security plan and how many people you have there. Because I know stuff might start inside and it might carry over, then it might go over to the hardest parking lot, or it might go somewhere else. And we can't control all of that. But that's why I want to ask you, tell me about your security.
Well, on that particular day that you're trying to, we had about 4 or 5 on there, which was a day party. But normally I carry about 12 to 15 security.
Okay, so we were below security that day.
But it was a day party. We ran it from 3 to 8.
So we really thought no incidents majorly was going to happen. So we was trying to just downsize on security a little bit that day, correct?
Right, correct.
Okay, let's not downsize on our security.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, you see how important it is, how a day party can turn into a big brawl just as well like something else can happen.
Right.
So let's kind of keep our security where we need to keep our security up in line.
Yes,
in
ma'am.
part for everything we do. I need you to communicate more with your business owners in that area So I think I'm gonna get ready to sit down and have a meeting with you all in that area again, because I had some business owners that are very concerned about, the parking and the incidents, and they carrying over to another area. If they're not patronizing the business, they don't need to be just hanging out in the cars. They need to leave your property. They need to be gone off of that property if they're not inside that club and hanging out. So that's one thing I want to make sure that we do, because we want to do good business. I want to have good business. I want people to patronize, but I want us to be able to come somewhere and be safe at all times when we're in somewhere. Because the problem is, you downside security that day, you had an incident that happened, and it got pretty ugly because they left there and went somewhere else to another apartment complex where they hit the house at the apartment complex. From all that, just that same day, just going on, and just everybody was going from one area to another area, continuing about something that happened at a day party. And that's why we've got to be safe. What's your name? Can you step back for 1 minute, see you? Ms. Eric, what, you got something you want to say?
Hold on, Mr. Brock. Before we call, let me handle this.
I'm sorry.
Come on back up, Mr. Brock. So you got anything you want to say about what they got to say? And I see you have your security to ask that question. Do you guys want to reply to that before we call up?
Well, all my security are licensed, and I carry at least 12 to 15 every night that I open up. But this particular day, I just had about 4 or 5 of them because it was a day party. But at the same time, I'm always safety first over there.
Yeah. And I agree, because you do safety. You do safety. I can't agree on that.
And I've been in business over 20 years.
I understand.
And these last 6 months, I've been coming down here more than I ever came.
Mm-hmm. Because well, let me answer that for you. When we get the people complaining, even business owners and people that patronize you complain, we're going to address the issues. And I mean, that's just the things I want to make sure, because I want you to do business, but I want good, clean business, and I want you to make sure people are safe in there while they're in your business, because that's important, And I mean, I know this day party got a little out of hand, and but we need to make sure we got security intact. I mean, I don't care if it's, you think it is a day party, but you saw how for MPD, the public, the safety, MPD were rolling all day dealing with this same incident from where it started. You see, and we could have probably went on ahead and nipped it in the bud from the beginning when we had good security there, all like you normally have. I didn't say you don't have security. Like you normally have a good number of security there for the incident that goes on there. That's all I'm asking.
All right. Okay, thank you. Yes, ma'am. Your name for the record?
Kiasha Irby. I did not get that. Kiasha Irby.
Kiasha.
Irby?
Yes, sir.
R-R-B-Y?
E-R-B-Y.
E-R-B-Y? Okay. Yep.
I just want to say, first of all, I just want to apologize to Tim. My daughters were the one that was involved in the altercation, and I just wanted to know that the altercation licks were not actually passed in G's. They was passed in the hardest parking lot. When I talked to Ms. Riley, it was a totally misunderstanding. I was upset because of the severity of what happened to my kids.
Right.
Once I later investigated, some of the information that I told her was untruthful. Like it was more like 4 or 5 security there. The licks did not get passed in Club G's. The fight occurred in hardest parking lot.
Correct.
And it was an ongoing altercation between my daughter and these girls. It's basically something that they bring from the community, bringing it to his establishment. And I just want to say that I feel like Club G should remain open. I mean, it was a misunderstanding, miscommunication. The fight did not take place actually inside of Club G's. It took place at Hardee's. No leaks was passed in G's, and there were security.
All right.
I appreciate you.
Thank you, Ms. Irby.
That's why I asked you to speak, because I did my investigation on it. And we did have a little incident that happened in the club, too, because we do have video of that as well. But that's why we continue to do our investigation on it, because we wanted to get to the bottom of the whole thing that happened and how everything was going on. So that's why I asked her to come in, because I wanted her to speak her truth about it, on what happened. But something did happen in the club as well. We do know that because we do have the video. But my thing is, I just want the security enforced, and I need it done correctly. Now, one thing I am going to do, Tim, is I'm in a point, or Mr. Tim, I'm in a point that I want to make sure we get together with our community. those business owners, we're going to get together on that strip, right up there where we at, so we can have a talk about these incidents and things that we can do to help. Because I don't want to hurt you, but I want to help you. And I always tell you that. I want to help you, but I'm going to help you before I hurt you. But the thing of it is, I want people to enjoy themselves, but we got to do better. We got to clear that parking lot out. If they lingering around, make them leave. Because they just going from one, they need to be in that building or gone. Because that's what a lot of it is starting from outside, and they carried it inside your building. So we need to do better. And I mean, I can say right now from the last incident, I don't think you had another incident since, it's been over 30 days since you had another incident. I can't give you credit on that. And so what I would like to do, Mr. President, if you don't mind, I know, what's your hours of operation, Tim? Saturday? I didn't hear you.
You need to tell
Step
the
onto the mic,
microphone.
sir.
I'm open on Thursday night from 8 to 12. Friday night, I'm not open. Saturday night, I run it from 9 to 2. We usually get out at about 1:30. And Sunday night, we end about 11 o'clock.
Okay, so you're not open on Fridays?
No,
Okay, so Sunday you in about 1:30. What time you in on Sunday?
about 11.
Okay. All right, make sure we enforce these times. I mean, I'm gonna leave your times on right now, but I want them enforced.
Yes.
I want you to make sure they're enforced, and I want security to enforce their security, please.
Yes, ma'am.
No lingering in that club, okay? No lingering in that parking lot, because that's the problem,
Yes, ma'am.
okay?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm good, Mr. President, on that. Yes, ma'am.
A security card, they gotta make sure that they're licensed with the security and also with us, the business license. They have to be licensed to do that.
Okay, did you get that, Ms. Tim?
They are licensed.
They are, okay.
They have to be certified through the securities division of the state, not just a business license. No, we sent them to the classes.
Okay, cool.
They have to be certified through the state.
Yes.
So that's
Come on up,
what
sir.
they,
Come on up,
they have
Mr.
to provide.
Security.
What's the name of your company?
Oh, no company per se, but all of us went through the training that the last lady asked us to go through, as far as.
So you're licensed with the Alabama Security Board, right?
Yeah, so we went to the class, went through the training, he filled out everything, took our fingerprints and all that stuff like that.
Okay, and you have to have a license with the city also.
Okay.
So you have to bring that regulatory license to the city, and then we can license you.
Okay.
Okay.
Understand.
All right, thank you.
So you need to go see, state your name. You need his name, Ms. Blaylock?
No.
You good?
My name is Charles Simmons.
Charles what?
Simmons. Yes,
Simmons?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so make sure you go see the city, or you can go there and talk to him now before you leave, so you make sure you get all your paperwork in there to be licensed with the city to do security, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Hey, I got a question for the attorney, and I'm listening to Ms. Riley, and I just got a question. I know Ms. Riley is asking the business owners to say, we're gonna have a meeting with the other businesses within that community on that strip. Now, if I'm a business owner and I say, well, no, I'm not gonna meet with no other business owners on that street, that's my call, so that shouldn't be nothing retaliatory against me, because that's on the verge of harassment.
No, we don't have to.
I'm asking the attorney for your opinion on that, sir.
We don't have to.
No, I mean, I agree with your assessment on that, initially, preliminary thoughts. I mean, if you're just asking my opinion, that's what it is.
Yeah,
I mean, you're
and
asking-
I say that to say this, because I know we bring people down here and we get to dictating to business owners that I want you to have cameras, I need you to have this many security. That's not our call. That's me or a person as a business owner for this. No. I know what you're saying. I can ask that you do that, but by law, that comes into a harassment. If I don't put that into an ordinance for a business, I can't come back and say, well, hey, I need you to have 15 security. If I'm not expecting but 100 people, I don't need, based on some of our ordinance, we can't, it say 1 per 50 when we talk about MPD. So if we go and say, I'm having 100 people and I'm requiring you to have 15 security officers, that puts me in as a business owner financially. To say, well, I only have 50 people. Now you're telling me I got to have 15 off. I understand what we're saying, but when it comes to say, well, I need you to meet with these people, I might choose that I don't want to meet with those people.
And
let me finish.
Yes, sir.
So
Mr.
it comes to a verge of like you are harassing me.
The council in the past has done stipulations not only inside the building, but outside the building, and how many they wanted. So it's within the
based
purview
on
of the
numbers
council.
of the patrons.
They
in there,
stay
basically.
within reason, yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. That's the point I was trying.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Well, I didn't tell you how many number you had to have, did I, Mr. Tim?
I didn't
I know,
say.
I'm just making sure. I didn't give him a number. I just asked you to have good security, to provide great security for your business. And I can't make the business owner meet, but they have asked me to. So that's why I'm asking. So I'm asking if they want to meet. They asked me if they could just meet. They just want to just to meet, so y'all are all on one accord, because one of them already said they're going to get secured over in their area to try to help with what goes on the strip. So I don't have no problem if they're going to put security on their side too. So that's it.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that. Thank
That's
you.
why it's the meeting.
Thank you.
Councilor Riley, what are you going to do with 24, the resolution?
I'm good. We can
You going to withdraw it?
we can withdraw it. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Thank you, sir.
Item number 25, show cause hearing on the proposed revocation of the business license of Echelon Grill, 305 Air Base Boulevard.
Owners for Echelon Grill, please come forward. Your name for the record, ma'am?
Camelia Jackson.
Ms. Jackson.
How you doing, Miss Jackson?
Ms. Riley.
Miss Jackson, you know we had a real bad little incident that happened. I think it was a day party as well over on that area, a breakfast party or something that was early that morning with an incident that started inside and spilled out, and I think some people passed some weapons and some shots were fired because we had footage and the police department did respond. What are we going to do? Because from my understanding, no security was there that morning when y'all opened early that morning. So what are we planning on doing to make sure that we're going to protect the citizens and your patrons there at your place of establishment?
So with the incident, it did start inside, and when it started inside, we made the individual leave. So once the individual left the premises, they left in their vehicle, and then they did fire shots in the air. So at this point, the only thing that we've come up with to create a solution is to get security to come in earlier that day instead of coming in midday. I mean, it was early in the morning, so normally when security comes, it's before the crowd gets there. However, you know, things are normally controlled at that time, but we didn't expect that to occur on a day party. So the only thing that we would be able to do is to allow them to come in at an earlier time.
Yeah, I think it happened like 8:15 because I have several businesses in that area that emailed me, text me, sent me information, even sent their video footage from their cameras on the situation and the things that happened in that area. Also, we have a business owner and we have a church in the area, but you and I have been working with this, and the business owner is, he sent me an email and a text about the people that tries to patronize him cannot patronize him because in the morning time, sometimes it's a lot of trash or something around. The security guards have been trying to keep the people from coming in that area. People cannot use his type of business. They have to go across the street because of the parking. And he wants to rectify the issue with the parking as well. And I have no problem. I mean, have you all contacted, and I can tell you who it is. We'll talk about that, about parking in that area to utilize that if you have to. But I mean, you all really need to pay close attention to what we're doing in the District 4, because what we're trying to do, we're trying to make sure we got safe places where we can enjoy ourselves as family. Because you all say it's a family business, you can come in and eat, and I don't have a problem with that, but we got to do safety for our families in our district. We're trying to change the concept of District 4. We want good businesses, we want good people to be in the business in our district, and we want good things to do in our district besides the same old, same old. We've done a lot lately. Public safety is real big with me. Safety comes first with anything that I like to deal with when it comes to dealing with people that are having a business, because I can't come somewhere and enjoy myself and bring guests when we can't have a good, reliable place to be in without incidents happening. And I believe in small business, but we've got to do better, because this incident here that day, if I didn't receive over 7 emails and texts about that incident and people running everywhere. And we had something else going on that day as well. I can't quite remember, but it was a big deal going on that day to have all of that going on Day Street, on Air Base at 8:15 a.m. during the middle of the day when people were going to work. And
in the morning?
it was in the morning. It was a morning incident.
Okay, so with the, to answer your question regarding the neighbors, and you asked what we were gonna do in that situation, so we've hired parking attendees, so we no longer use that side anymore. That was to eliminate trash going down that way, that was to eliminate traffic going down that way, and anybody having any complaints about not being able to receive business. So for any complaints that I've received for that, we've taken and made those changes, so they no longer park on that side.
Can you give me your hours of operation, please?
Mm-hmm. So we're on Sundays, it is from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Closed on Mondays. Tuesdays, it is from 6 to 12. Closed on Wednesdays.
6 p.m. or 6 a.m.?
6 p.m.
To 12 on Tuesdays and Wednesdays?
Wednesdays we're closed.
Okay, so you close Mondays and Wednesdays.
Mm-hmm. On Thursdays, it is 11 a.m. to 12 a.m.
11 a.m. to 12 a.m. Okay.
And on Fridays, it is 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. And on Sundays, we close at 7 p.m.
And y'all open at 11 while church is going on at the church down the street from you all?
It's normally not that busy at that time. Unless it's an event or something, but normally it's no traffic to where they can't get out
So
around that time.
Thursday is from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m.?
A.m.
12 a.m., I'm sorry. And then Friday is
Fridays
from
and Saturdays is until 2 a.m.
until 2 a.m.
And Sundays we close at 7 p.m.
What time do you open on Sunday?
11 a.m.
I can speak now?
Okay.
Hey, I emailed you yesterday to let you know that you've got some taxes that you need to come and pay.
I called them yesterday and I started paying on them today.
Okay, well, nobody ever told me because I asked them before I came up here.
Yes, ma'am. I had called and asked them for the balance, and they gave me the 3 months that needed to be filed in order to pay the pay slip.
Okay, good deal. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
Okay.
Riley, any other questions?
Only thing I'm gonna ask, Mr. President, is on Fridays, I would like them to close at 1 p.m. instead of 2, and all the other times will be great until at least.
All other times what?
All other times is good because she says on Sunday they're from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. They're closed on Monday. And Tuesday from 6 p.m. to 12 a.m. They're closed on Wednesday. And Thursday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. And Friday they're from 11 to 2?
11. What you said? Friday, 11 a.m.
11 a.m. to 2 a.m.
12 a.m.
To 12 a.m. on Fridays? And what time on
It's
Saturday?
2 a.m. on Saturday.
Okay, that's Saturday that I would like them to close at 1 p.m. on Saturdays.
At 1 p.m.
1 p.m.
1 a.m., I'm sorry. 1 a.m. on Saturday, that's Saturday, 1 a.m., Ms. Blaylock.
Okay.
So do you need to see, are you good with revenue? So you're good with her? Okay. So I'm gonna ask you all, I know you do have security and you do have security cameras, but I'm gonna ask you all to kind of take in consideration of your neighbors. Make sure, that things are in compliance with them, with their businesses in that area, because people do patronize them as well. Also, I know, make sure you watch where the ice machine is that people use to pour ice out of.
I blocked it off.
Okay, make sure you watch that area so that people can patronize that business as well in that area, and the little strip area as well. And I'm good if they're gonna abide by the rules, Ms. Blaylock, and I'm good right now.
You're withdrawing number 26?
I withdraw at number 26. I appreciate you.
Item 27, application for a towing company doing business as Montgomery Repo and Towing at 621 Air Base Boulevard. It's for a towing company and a repo company.
All right.
Mr. President, they're gonna get with inspection and go over some things, and then they'll come back. They want to inspection and look at some stuff for them.
Okay, so you're
So
carrying
we're
over.
carrying this one
We'll
over.
carry it over.
Item 28, application for a lounge retail liquor class 1 license doing business as Paradigm Lounge, 82 Commerce Street.
Hold on for a second, Ms. Blaylock, I apologize. Is Barbara Brown or MD Hussein in the audience? Barbara Brown, MD Hussein, okay. That must be the owners. All right. Item 28.
I just read it, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you. Owners for item 28, please come forward. Brandon. This is Mr. Brandon. What's your name for the record?
Yes, sir. My name is Brandon Burnham.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Burnham. All right. Any questions for Mr. Burnham? Okay. This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, I declare the public hearing has been held as proper for the council. Need a motion?
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Where is this located exactly? I know it's on Commerce.
It's actually a couple streets over from here, across from what's the new place? The Kaiser Zone.
Oh, Sulater.
Yes, sir, it's a solitaire location.
Oh, Ms. Blaylock been stepping out.
It's been around a long time.
All right, so good luck with your business. Thank you for investing in that area. Thank you.
Item 28, resolution appointing Vincent Hall to the Montgomery Historic Preservation Commission.
Motion to suspend the rules for the remainder of the agenda.
I'll make that motion.
All in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you, Mr. Jenwright.
Unanimous.
A motion to adopt. All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. Item 30, resolution appointing Brennan Parker to the Montgomery Historic Preservation Commission.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. 31, resolution appointing Valerie Smedley to the Montgomery Historic Preservation Commission.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. 32, resolution declaring, authorizing, and assessing cost of abatement of public nuisances on various lots.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
All right. I have an item here, Ms. Blaylock, that you set up
Yes,
on the
sir.
desk.
It's
So,
an ordinance granting a license to SCD Holdings to construct, install, and maintain an exterior curtain wall replacement on North Goldthwaite and Heron Streets.
all right, representative for HD Holdings, please come forward.
My name is Stephen Siebold from EJI. SCD is a subsidiary of that. I'm here with Tim Slager, our architect.
Okay. Any questions on these items?
What is it?
Yeah, they're building a wall. Go ahead. You're going to explain what.
Tim Slager, I'll give you a quick little rundown. Again, we're the existing kind of curtain wall in the northeast corner of Goldthwaite and Heron. We're replacing with the new curtain wall system. And in doing so, it basically is going over the existing property line. So hence where you're requesting the licensing agreement.
Move suspend rules.
Well, has this been approved by the
I have a motion to suspend the rules. All in favor, please raise your hand.
I think you're going to have to let him talk because he's
No,
not
has this been
raising his
approved by
hand.
the Architectural Review Board?
It was. We were presented
It's
back in
it's
June.
approved by
It's
the Architectural Review
correct.
Board, okay. All right, now go ahead, Charlie.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Thank you, Mr. Bryant.
We need
I need a motion to adopt.
So move. All in favor, raise.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Thank you for
The
staying.
ordinance is adopted.
Good luck with your business, sir. Thank you.
Good, done.
Cancel, I do have contingency funds. I have put a list in front
Brenda,
of you, but I would,
Brenda,
yes.
before we go on, the mayor said in his absence, he would like to hold on to this and approve at the next council meeting.
The contingency funds?
Yes, ma'am.
That is strictly at the purview of the council.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
we got to move on that.
Okay, move on.
What we're gonna do, council?
Move on. Wait,
move
you gonna
on.
read them?
Just a second.
I make a
I've got
motion to adopt.
movement and I've got to record it. 1, 2,
We got a
3,
written
4,
copy,
5,
don't we?
6.
We can read it.
What,
I make a motion to adopt.
wait a minute, I gotta read them into the record first.
Okay, read them in the record.
So you don't wanna wait for the mayor's approval? Do you want Mr. Reed to
These
get
these
them?
already been approved.
No, sir, these have not been approved.
We
Ms.
didn't
Blaylock.
put off too much for next time.
I gave you a list just because there were so many of them, and I gave a list for the mayor to see.
And he hasn't approved these?
He has not approved them, no, sir.
All right, the council gonna go ahead and approve them and send them on up. We gonna approve them so we can have them. We're not gonna wait 2 weeks on these allocations.
So
So,
long as it's
If you're
on
waiting
you.
on this money.
yeah, the president will take that move.
Okay.
All right.
Mr. Reed, they all are vendors.
Send it to him.
Okay.
District 2,
Hold on, before we go too far, Brenda, I just want to make sure the mayor's intent is not to approve tonight. I know the council will do what they need to do. He will hold and reserve approval for when he can see them physically.
Okay. And I don't think we really want to set that precedent, but we're gonna go ahead and approve them for tonight. So let's just move. We'll have that conversation.
So this is a challenge that the council then, the mayor wants to challenge the council that not happy?
No, he's just asked me to hold off on these until he could take a look at it.
it was something that it was established under Mayor Strange, his administration, that they were always sent to the mayor's office for him to make sure they complied with the ethics law.
Now,
That's what the
Ms.
whole
Blaylock,
thing is
I
about.
know, and I'm just gonna go ahead and put this in the record. And I know that was something that was set in Mayor Strange's administration, and it was all fine, but once we established with the CDC and they established as a vendor, I mean, we do that out of the courtesy of our heart. Once the council go and established as a vendor, we send it through you. But as far as the approval of a discretionary account, we just do that based on when we set this up. And I sponsored that legislation to send that through. So if we're gonna go back and forth on what we're gonna approve, I don't think we need to set that as a council right now today.
I'm just.
I know you're doing your job,
I'm
so
doing my
let's read
job.
it into the record. The council gonna go ahead and make the recommendation on where we need to go forward. That's something that we're gonna have to have a conversation with, or I know what's gonna happen next. That ordinance is gonna be rescinded, and it's gonna be something that's done.
What ordinance?
The protocol, because
Oh.
they do establish the accounts, that's what we did. But the protocol was to send them through to say, hey, they was vendors and we didn't have no illegal activities going on, or I'm sending it to someone that's not a vendor with the city.
That's between thee and the mayor's office.
Okay, well, the president and mayor had that conversation with the staff.
Sir, okay, for District 2, $2,000 to Jamari Williams Foundation, $1,000 to Capitol Heights Middle School Fall Festival, $2,000 to Quiet Storm, $5,000 to Meal on Wheels, Macoa, $500 to Landmarks Foundation. District 3, Pilgrim's Rest, $1,500 to Pilgrim's Rest Senior Citizen Program, $7,169.95 to Sheridan Heights Community Center, $5,000 to Capitol Heights Middle School, and of course these will all go to MPS. District 4, $2,500 to MPS for Carver High School Band, $2,500 to MPS for Carver High School basketball. District 9, $12,000 to Tuckabatchee Area Council, $2,000 to Bellwood East HOA, $2,000 to Halcyon South HOA, $12,000 to Copperfield HOA, $12,000 to Woodmere HOA. District 5, $5,000 to ACT CDC.
Did you get the Capri Theater for me? I wrote it on my paper, but I don't think I sent it down to you.
ACT CDC, I just read that one,
Yeah,
$5,000 to
I
ACT
think the
CDC.
Capri Theater for 1,000.
For who?
The Capri Theater,
How much?
1,000.
Okay.
I ain't hear nothing from District 6.
Okay,
I'm about
anything
to,
else?
yeah, District 6, please.
Okay.
1,300, Manhood Inc. 1,000, Friends of the Theater.
Friends of the Theater.
2,000, Food Bank. I think they have changed their name, so I don't know if it's Montgomery.
Alabama something.
Yeah, $2,000 to Food Bank.
Okay.
$1,000 Nat King Cole Foundation, and $1,000 South Lawn Baseball.
Okay, anybody else?
Ms. Blaylock, did you get my other list?
Oh, yes. this
And
is
then I
back behind
also,
here.
okay, yes.
For District 4, $5,000 to West Montgomery Action Committee, $5,000 to Choose One or Lose One, 5,000 to New Vision Outreach.
And also, I would like to add $1,000 to Capri Theater.
Okay. Anybody else?
Ms. Blaylock.
Go ahead.
Mr. President,
Yeah.
Ms. Blaylock, New Vision, I think you're gonna run into the same situation. I think they had not been vetted, so I could not do contingency, so I don't know. Ms. Riley, did you say New Vision?
That was Capri Theater.
I thought you said New Vision. Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
She did say New Vision.
That's what I thought you said, New
5,000.
Vision.
Oh, yes, they've been,
No, they haven't been through the vetting, so you can't do it through the contingency. You gotta do it through your
Okay.
regular.
okay.
So strike that one.
Yes, Ms. Amy called me last. I did the same thing the last city council meeting.
Hey, Ms.
Okay.
Blaylock, I had one more that I forgot. Manhood Inc., $1,500.
1,500 to Manhood Inc. Okay. Anybody else?
Yes, ma'am. No, that's it.
Need a motion to adopt?
Move to adopt.
All in favor, please raise your hand. Yeah.
Are y'all gonna vote on it or not?
Y'all gonna vote?
Here we go.
Unanimous, thank you.
Hey, Ms. Beers,
That's all I have.
that's all I have. Any council member have anything?
Move to
We have-
adjourn.
We have 3 people to speak, if they're still
Oh, yeah, I
here.
know.
Do we have, oh, you got to move.
They already gone.
Mr. Shaw's already spoke. He spoke.
Hold on, let me find my list. You have it, Ms. Blaylock?
Yes, sir. Mark
thing is-
Shaw was the first one, and he spoke about range 231.
Okay.
Number 2 is David Ledford, no police or fire assistance in the PJ.
Mr. David Leopard, if you're in the audience, please come forward.
He left. He left 3 hours.
I don't blame him.
You got your list? Regina Davis, Auburn Street.